What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Brain Freeze. Last week, we spoke with the operations manager of Luminosity, Tyler Normington, on his path to success and how you can achieve anything that you set your mind to. But it always helps to have some friends to give you a head start along the way. This week, we speak to a very similar figure in the space, a content creator with over 9,000 supporters and a list of accolades, including but not limited to the creative director of Limitless and the community manager of Respawn Products, Mr. 100 Links himself, Sith. How's it going, man?
Yeah, things are going good. How about you?
Man, it's honestly going pretty well for me right now. I love having the opportunity to talk with creators and people in the space like yourself. It's a massive opportunity for people to learn, for people to really understand the behind the scenes of the stuff that people like you go through, and really being able to absorb the knowledge that you guys have to offer from being in this space the way that you guys have been. So I appreciate you making the time to come on and share your experiences with not only myself, but the Brain Freeze community. Maybe some things that your community didn't know about you, and just being able to take the time away from your very busy schedule with everything that you do to be able to come and talk to me, man.
Yeah, of course, anytime. I mean, it's super awesome being on like podcasts and all that stuff. It's super dope just going into detail on all this
Yeah.
and the industry and everything. It's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to touch on a few things today, a good amount of areas where you've been throughout your content and really pick your brain. A lot of viewers at home know that the Brain Freeze at its core is a mental health podcast, but we are also in the business of spreading knowledge. So we are going to keep this organized in three separate categories to fully understand everything that we need to know about Sith. So we have our first category, the man, the second category, the Sith, and the third category, the legend, the man, the Sith, the legend.
Incredible.
So we have the man, which is who you are outside of the screens, everything to do with who Sith is, maybe even outside of the gamer tag. The Sith, which is going to be your individual content journey along your way, and then the legend, who is the manager side, the person who works with the brands and the organizations on how you got there and what influence that has had on your career. Any questions on
Mhm.
that?
No, I'm good. I'm good to start.
All right. So, as you may have seen from previous episodes of the Brain Freeze podcast, we do like to break the tension over here. So, we are going to be testing your knowledge on some subjects and doing some little icebreaker categories. In previous episodes, it has been straight trivia. We kind of mixed it up this episode. We came a lot more prepared than we've came in the past. We do have some trivia knowledge coming for
Okay.
you later, but we do have maybe more hot seat category type mini games this time. There will be a different reward for each mini game that you come across. We'll go over what the reward is before we start each individual mini game, but there are giveaways on the table, and
Ooh.
the potential of a Respawn 110 being given away to the community on behalf of you, provided and funded by myself, of course.
Oh,
So
heck yeah.
you have
I love
any
that.
questions on anything? I mean, you will, I'm sure now, but you'll get answers further as we get to the mini games. Does everything sound okay as
Um,
it is?
oh yeah. Yeah, everything sounds incredible. I love that.
All right, man. Perfect. Well, let's get into the fun and start getting to know a little bit more about Sith outside of the gamer tag. So let's go
Mhm.
into, before we get into any of our questions, just tell us a little bit of general knowledge about you outside of the screens. What is a basic breakdown of Sith?
Yeah, so I mean, I was born November 14th, 2001 in Vancouver, Canada. I've literally been here since like since, like forever. I've never just strayed away from anywhere. I've just been based in Vancouver here, Vancouver, Canada, and I love what I've been doing since the start. I've been in gaming for quite a while. I think I started gaming when I was like 2, 3 years old, pretty much, and I've just been hooked on gaming like since the very beginning, and like going through school as normal, just being a kid and just doing my own thing. And I really got a hold on art and just creating things on a pretty early age, I would say. Like I remember I would use like different computer games with like the old like CRT screens and stuff like that, and like the gaming monitors or whatever at that time, and just doing all these different games and just creating and making messes and stuff like that, just being creative whenever I could. So yeah, I've just been super creative like since the start, pretty much, and I'm putting that into my work and even outside of work and doing all that.
I love that, man. That's very
Yeah.
like I think I saw something the other day where it was a very empowering, the kid starts off just kind of banging his hands on things, being a little bit of a drummer, and then each year their parents like upgraded their drum kit setup kind of thing. And I feel with that story, you started off super creative and maybe you started playing a little bit of games here and there on your little joysticks, and then you got into your CRT, and then you started getting into, designing a little bit more and more. And now here you are making a full living doing what you're doing right now. It's it's
Hmm.
it's really the perfect process of growth. Um,
Yeah.
so before the content and maybe before the art, was there anything that you had the passions for before the gaming, before the creativity sparked? What was it before the online space?
Hmm. Honestly, I don't remember a time where I didn't have a passion for it, if that makes sense. So like it was very early on that I was just creative. Like I was like just 1 year old, not even like less than a year old, probably just being creative. So I honestly don't remember the last time I really wasn't creative, if that makes sense.
That's fair.
And just making things and having that passion for it. In terms of like before I started gaming, I was probably just being creative. And before I got introduced to gaming through I think I was gaming on PC first, and then I got the first ever Xbox on, I think it was that Christmas, I think the next year, in like 2002, 2003 or something like that. So like very early on, I just got a passion for it, and it just grew and grew through the years. um but yeah, it's just whether it be through like music or something like that, I was creative. Whether it be through doing different activities, I was creative. And it doesn't even have to be gaming related. It doesn't have to be content related or anything like that. I was just like every area of life that I've been through, probably I've been creative doing it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So when you think about, the job titles or the partnerships that come with being a content creator, what was the first thing that made you fall in love with gaming?
The first thing that made me fall in love with gaming, I think it was I think it had to do in part with being creative. I think that it's hand in hand with me. It's like I just being able to create anything um and game at the same time is just insane to me. So I was just hooked on it like instantly, and I just like I remember a huge example was like creating those custom emblems in Call of Duty Black Ops 2,
Mm,
or like the old Call of Duties and stuff. When we got to make the custom emblems, I was making like super detailed like I think I remember my main emblem that I remember was like a dragon eye, and it was like super detailed, and like I used like 1,000 freaking like layers just making that emblem. It took me like hours to make. And even custom superstars in like the old WWE games, like the SmackDown versus Raw games, I was making like super detailed characters and stuff. So I was super creative through that, and you know,
that's awesome, man.
yeah.
So with the gaming space, there was a point where you realized like I want to create content alongside of this, right? Was there a
Mhm.
specific creator that you watched along your journey that made you kind of like I want to do that? Does that make
Oh
sense?
yeah. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Immediately, I thought of FaZe Clan. I think the early 2010s were pretty much FaZe's game. You know, like the early like New York house days, where it was like Adapt. um, Banks, and like the whole bunch of them in that house, just creating content, creating like Call of Duty videos and their own separate channels, and then making group videos, doing the old sniping clips. I think it was the Illcams
Yeah.
series on like it was just that was huge back then. Like Call of Duty was everything pretty much in the gaming industry. I would definitely say that was like you had to like to be in the gaming space. You had to you probably made a Call of Duty video at least once. And that's like some of the first videos I ever did was a Call of Duty video. And just that inspiration of, you know, getting like a sniping clip or, you know, doing a funny moment sort of thing with friends. It really inspired me to do that sort of thing, to just start with content. And I started content, I think, the summer of 2016. So it wasn't like that long ago, but I was more so just consuming content. And that's when I started to, I would say, afford equipment at that time to just start content. So it took me a few years. Like I had the passion for it for a few years then, and then I could afford it to get equipment to start making content. Because I remember I used to, you know, be super excited getting my first Elgato capture card, and I was like, "Yo, this is it! I'm gonna be creating content," and you know, getting my first ever like microphone. I think it was like the Blue Snowball, like just the OG setup of like creating content and all that stuff. It was super awesome, but yeah, it was more so consuming content, but having the passion to want to do it, and then like I didn't have the means to do it, that makes sense. And then I did, and then that's when it started. Was
Yeah.
the summer of 2016. And yeah.
Yeah, you go through that equipment list, and I'm like, yep, had that, had that, had that. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, dude, you sent me through a whirlwind right there. I was like, whoa, hold on a
Yeah.
second, that's
Yeah,
crazy.
like like an old like newer microphone arm with like the springs
Yep,
and
yeah,
everything. Oh
yeah,
man.
for
Oh
real.
man.
Oh man. So let's think back. You know, maybe to when you started making content, or maybe even further past that, when you were when it was still just a concept to you of like, maybe I do want to do this, maybe I don't know yet. Let's just say in general 10 years. If you rewound back 10 years, what what were you chasing? What's different about what you were chasing then compared to what you're chasing now?
Mm. I think I was just chasing connection, if that makes sense. So like 2016, I would say was the year of like the Sith. I would say like at least like in like the origins of Sith. I would say with 2016 was like the largest year. It was my freshman year in high school. I would say, well, freshman year going into grade 9 in high school, and I just all my friends that I was surrounding myself with also had that passion. Like I remember some of my friends that I have today that I'm still with, and still talking to through high school, and you know, having that connection. They also wanted to create content. They also had the same sort of drive that I had when it came to like we were both consuming like FaZe Clan videos like during lunch like at high school or something like that, and we were, you know, just watching the same videos and having like the same idea, and watching the same content creators, like watching the FaZe Jevs and watching the FaZe Tempers and you know all that stuff. So I had so many friends that had the same idea and wanted to create content alongside us. Like we even had like the most unrealistic ideas of like, oh, we're gonna make our own content house one day, and you know all that stuff. So yeah, like we were super passionate, and during that period before I started making content, we were just we were wanting to do it. We just didn't have the hardware to do it at the time, so we were just, you know, having the thought of it for like a few years there, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I
Yeah.
mean, I think back, you know, I had those same conversations. A lot of it was like, you know,
Hmm.
I instead of content house, like that's what we called it as well. You know, it was content
Hmm.
house, but it was like, all right, but for real, like we could all just live together and we could fuck around and just have some fun. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
it's, but I mean, you call it a content house, and now there's like that extra like excitement about it. It's not like, hey, let's just all pay bills together. You know what I mean? It's that
Yeah.
extra layer to
Yeah.
it. So you know, you've always been a super, I don't know if philosophical is the word that I want to use, but you've always been a super like tied down, grounded member of the community. No matter where I've seen you, you know, I've known you for about 2 years now, and you've always approached everything with a fair amount of grace, I would say.
Mm.
So what is like your personal philosophy that you live by that has stuck with you even when life has gotten to its most chaotic points for you?
I would say it's like it takes time and it takes work to do good and to be a good person, if that makes sense. Like it's so easy to be bad. It's so easy to hate and it's so easy to just be down on yourself and to be down on others, but it takes time and work to be good. And I just I don't know. I in earlier years during school, I was a much different person, even in elementary and going through um, life lessons and going through like for huge example. I haven't really talked about this before, but I was bullied for about I think 2 to 3 years during school, just back to back to back. And that sort of life lesson of, you know, it's so easy to do the same back to the bullies or something like that, but it takes time and work to be the bigger person, if that makes sense, to be a good person and to not, you know, do the things that they're doing, and that sort of thing. So it's you have to like break that sort of barrier, and just be yourself and just go through everything one step at a time and just overall just try your best to be the best version of yourself, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, no, that's a great thing to live by, and something I think a lot of people definitely need to hear nowadays too. Is a lot of people just kind
Hmm.
of jump to maybe what's easiest, which is kind of just, you know, if someone is being aggressive, be aggressive back kind of thing, and fight, put up the
Hmm.
defenses, so to speak, instead of just kind of like, I don't want to say let it happen, but you know, for lack of a better, you know, people are gonna be who they're gonna be. There's a lot
Hmm.
of times where you can't change other people. So,
Yeah, you just have
um,
to like run out the clock in a
right,
sense.
because they're gonna run out their own. Like if they're gonna be
Hmm.
that person forever, then they're not gonna make it very far. So you just kind of have to stick true to who
Hmm.
you are. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Um, Now, there's going to be a point where, you know, content isn't going to be your main priority, whether that's 5 years down the line, maybe you start having a family, kids, settle down, this isn't your passion anymore. Maybe there's 2, 3, 4, 5 decades left in you, you know,
Mm.
maybe you're the next tactical grandpa or whatever's going on, right? Um, what kind of legacy, when you are no longer creating content, what is the legacy that you want to leave behind? What do you want people to remember Sith by?
I think I had really have not really thought of this before, but I think a lot I want people to remember me that you can still succeed and be good, like be a good person in a sense, or you know, have humility. Like I always hear like either whether it be in other industries, it's like, oh, like you have to cheat to be successful, or you have to be like a bad person to be successful, or that sort of thing. Like it's just it's not true.
Yeah.
It just it isn't. So I want people to look back on me and say, hey, like this person just had integrity the entire way through and you know, inspired others to do the like to follow in their journey and that sort of thing, and maybe inspire others to do the exact same thing that I'm doing, and you know, um and just look back and say, hey, like this is a dope person, or you know, like that sort of thing. I don't
Yeah.
know,
Yeah, no,
it's interesting.
that's valid. I mean, there's a certain respect that comes with just being someone who has always been themselves, you know, and I feel like for as long as I've known you, you know, you've gotten opportunities that are life-changing opportunities. You've grown in numbers, you've opened up
Hmm.
more channels, you've done different avenues of content, you completely switched up from streaming to creating. You know, there's a lot of different avenues where your life has directly changed, and I don't think I could honestly say that you've changed in the slightest because of what's changed in
Mm,
your life. You've been
yeah.
undoubtedly Sith the entire time. Whether
Yeah.
you've been competing alongside me to maybe I got some opportunities that you didn't, or vice versa, or now you're technically my boss in a sense. You know, it's and you've never switched up, and I can respect that to a degree that a lot of people maybe don't really understand. So,
Mm. Yeah.
so there comes a point for a lot of us when we go from gamers to creators, and there's kind of just that subconscious switch that we don't really know when it happens, but you kind of have that moment in mind where you realize, like, maybe it's past watching the videos where you're like, I want to do that someday, and you take it to a point where you're like playing the video game and you're like, you know what, I could do this actually. Like, I think if I recorded that, that would have been a really good video, or you think somewhere along those lines. Do you
Mm.
have that moment in mind of when the switch flipped from being a gamer to a creator?
I wouldn't say I like know exactly when that switch happened, but I now know that my mindset behind the scenes has changed, where it's like, I would think of like a certain game that I would be playing or whatever behind the scenes, and I would like be telling myself, damn, like this would be so good for content, or this would be so good for this and that, or a particular, like even a reaction content. There would be this video that I would be watching, and I'm like, dang, this would be so good to react to, or that sort of thing. Like I'm always in like this mode of like, dang, like this could pop off if I recorded this particular moment, or if I did this. And it's sort of a bad thing, at least on
Yeah.
my end, where it's just like it's kind of overwhelming or overbearing to think like that. And I think the same thing goes for like I was in drama class in high school for like every year. During high school, I was pretty much a drama kid. I still am a drama kid to heart.
Yep.
And I would now every time I see a movie or I see a TV show, I would always be thinking of the behind the scenes with like, oh, like what was this actor doing, or like I was thinking of like the details and the intricacies of like behind the scenes on like a movie set or something like that. And it's sort of, I don't know, it's ruined the
Yeah.
experience in a way, but also it's like deepened the experience as well, where it's like what's on the other end of the camera, what's on the other end of like behind the scenes on stage or something like that. So it's it's a little bit of both of like, oh, like this is cool, and like thinking this way can also be detrimental, because it's just like, dang, like this particular experience is ruined for me because I know what it's like. I know that like I have that experience of like being behind a stage, or that sort of thing. I don't know. It's
No,
hard to
I
explain, but
100% understand what you mean, because I'm also a drama kid. I
mhm.
did competitive speech and debate and drama for all 4 years of my high school career, and there are times where I'm watching a movie and I'll just like look over at my girlfriend. I'm like, how many times do you think it took them to retake that scene? Like,
Right,
I'm like, that
right,
that would be a very hard scene to nail on the first try. Or I'll
yeah,
hear laughter in the background and I'll be like, do you hear that? And she's like, what? I'm like, you didn't hear that laughter behind the camera?
right,
Just things like
right,
that.
yeah.
And
Yeah, like you're just breaking down everything to like
exactly.
like an atomized level, an
Right.
atomic level, pretty much. And
And that goes for, to a certain degree. If you're listening to music, you're in that music industry a lot. Like, you're
yeah,
hearing the little intricacies in the song that make a song like
right,
stand out, that you don't necessarily subconsciously, you just subconsciously hear these sounds and songs. But when you're at like a
yeah,
music producer level, you hear all of these individual stacks. That's the same thing with
hmm,
with content. You're like, every time I watch a video, I'm like, oh, that's actually a really good sound effect. Where do I find that? I need to add that one to my lobby, or to my
yeah,
library. And
yeah,
I can't enjoy the video for just what it is now. Oh, come on, focus. There we go. I can't just enjoy a video for what it is anymore. And a lot of times there are some times where I can like sit back and I'm like, whoa, I have to like really appreciate this editing style. And when I finish the video, I'm like, okay, now I have to go implement that into my videos. Like it can't be
Right.
like, yeah, I really liked that video because it was a good video. It was wow, I really liked that video. Now I need to do it myself. It's
Yeah,
um
it's that, yeah, the experience sort of in a way tarnishes the viewing experience, but also, I mean, sometimes you sort of have to like forcefully say to yourself, it's like, hey, like I just want to enjoy this movie or something like that,
yeah,
like something like that, and you sort of have to like forcefully internalize that you're not going to look at this scene this way, or
right,
so
exactly.
it's crazy.
Because
So
I
yeah,
mean, it's to a degree, it's okay when we're by ourselves, you know.
yeah,
But like, you probably will eventually drive yourself crazy. But more importantly, the people around you aren't necessarily living the life that we are. Even though my girlfriend is directly involved in a lot of my content, I bounce a lot of my ideas off of her. She reviews a lot of my videos to make sure that people who aren't into Call of Duty can still enjoy this video, kind of thing. Um, but she doesn't want to be hearing all that. You know what I mean? Like she doesn't want the breakdown of the movies and the songs and everything else.
right, yeah.
So let's fast forward to today. How much of the person before you started even gaming? How much of that
Mm.
person that 2, 3, 4 year old just creative kid, how much of him is still alive today? Like, give me a percentage. Is
Oh
100%
yeah,
of you still here?
in like actual numbers, I really don't know, but I'm still like super creative, so it's probably like a decent like 50 or more percent. I still have like that, I would say, childlike wonder in
Hmm.
a way, for certain things, and for other things, I'm thinking of like work and doing all these other things like adulting.
Hmm.
But there are certain days or certain moments that are still like pretty awesome. And sort of like I even think about certain moments back, and it's like, oh hey, like this is a cool moment, and my inner child, I guess, would act the same or something like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's still there. He's
Fair.
still there.
So, kind of piggybacking off of that, what is something you said about 50%? What's something about yourself that you fought to keep? I'm gonna make you stray away from the creativity answer a little bit.
Mhm.
Something that you fought to keep consistent about yourself through all of these years, even though like some of the adversity may have tried to pull you away from that part about yourself. What is
Mm.
something undeniably Sith that you cannot possibly leave behind?
Definitely, I would say, there's like multiple words to describe it. It's like humility, like the grace, and just like being kind in general, like not being a bad person in a sense. Like I've really had to fight that. I really had to fight to keep that. Huge example I would say was, there was one year in high school, so my friends would be, running with the wrong people, and their personality would be changing because of those people. And I sort of had to like shift certain things and shift the way that I do things, but also try and fight to be the same, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like be the same person, and of course like still improve and grow. But yeah, I've had to fight to keep that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Especially through school and all that stuff. And when it's like, again, it's super easy to hate others, super easy to sort of emulate those types of
Mm,
people. And it's a uphill battle in a sense to keep that.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Now I'm gonna completely 180 flip on you right now.
Mm-hmm.
In order for you to get to who you are right now, what is
Mm.
a core part of you that at that time you felt was like 100% Sith that you had to let go of in order to get to who you are now?
Mm. Hmm. I'm actually not sure. What I've had to let go of?
Yeah, just kind of like
Hmm.
what was a personality trait maybe like 5, 10 years ago that you would have said like I'm always gonna be this way, and you had to let go of it in order to be who you are now.
Probably letting go of like certain feelings towards others, if that makes sense. So like I had to let go of like grudges or like
Okay.
years long certain like things like certain perspectives on certain people during school or something like that. So like letting go of having personalized, animosity, if that makes sense, to keep being myself. So I've had to let go of certain feelings about people, and I've had to
Yeah.
let go of that.
Yeah, some
So that,
certain like
yeah,
subconscious biases that were kind of like
yeah,
implanted into your mind, maybe
yeah.
from others or from previous experiences, and you had to learn to grow past that a little bit. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
an awesome answer.
Hmm.
Now, looking back, is there a moment that you think kind of maybe planted the seed for the community that you've built today? As we go through our content journey, we refine more and more of who we want to be as creators. There's something like, oh, maybe if I did it this way, you're like, oh, I really like that. I want to do that now. Is there a seed that was planted early on that defined the possibly Sith who we know now?
Like a certain moment, if like,
Yeah, kind of like a moment or just like an idea that maybe some sort of like pivotal moment in your early on life that has
um
amounted to where you are in your career now.
I feel like I had to go through that sort of like uh I've had to go through that bullying to be the person I am, and like
Okay.
I feel like the bad moments through life, in general, even now, I feel like those are very important seeds that have to be planted, to be the person that I am, for sure. I feel like I wouldn't necessarily be the person that I am if I hadn't gone through that. Um, yeah, I would say
Yeah.
that's a huge seed that needed to be planted for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna kind of give a visual representation for all the Disney fans out there that are struggling to visualize kind of the ideas that we're giving forward here. As you go through your life, think of like, oh, what the hell is that movie called? What is the movie with the emotions? The Pixar movie?
Oh, like
What?
Inside Out,
Yeah,
or
Inside Out. Okay.
yeah.
Think of when you go through your life, certain things are going to happen to you that instinctively create core values of who you are as an
Hmm.
individual. Certain things are going to happen, and those are going to stick out as those like core memories for the Inside Out fans out there, and those are going to create who you are. Right? Those are undeniable things that this happened, and it made me who I am now. So going
Yeah.
through the bullying that you went through, being that theater kid, created that creativity, having um, the early on PC, being able to play those certain games, that all culminates and creates who we see as Sith. And there's thousands, maybe millions of those scenarios throughout your life
Mm.
so far, and so many more that will happen that are gonna change who you are. Maybe we'll have another conversation in 10 years and
Yeah.
you'll be at your core still Sith, but there's gonna be so many more scenarios that happen in your life that change the trajectory of ultimately who you are and what kind of impact you're going to leave on people. So,
Yeah. 100%.
all right, Sith, we went through a little bit about who you are away from the screens. Is there anything that you want to touch on that you feel like we didn't really hit before we get into our first mini game?
Ooh, I would say I touched on a lot, right there. It's I just poured out pretty much myself and just talking about everything. I'm good.
All right, fair enough. Our first mini game is somewhat inspired by um, Nick Cannon's show on MTV. I don't remember what it's called off the top of my head.
Okay.
It's an impromptu game show essentially, centered around like hip hop culture. The minigame is called Plead the Fifth. Now I'm gonna give you 25 questions with the intention of them being rapid fire.
Okay.
Get to know you style, icebreaker style questions. Some
Hmm.
of them are going to be uncomfortable. but you
Got
have
you.
5 seconds maximum to answer each question. You will have the option to plead the fifth if you don't know how to answer the question or you just want to avoid it. If you answer all 25 questions without pleading the fifth, you will earn a perfect score and earn a one-shot giveaway for the community.
Dang,
Okay?
okay.
If you plead the fifth on 3 or less, you will pass this mini game, which will lead to a grander prize in the future if you pass all 3 mini games.
Gotcha.
Pleading the fifth and the fourth time will result in failing the mini game. However, we will still go through the rest of the questions just for the fun of it. Do you have any questions?
Nah, I'm good.
All right. Very much say, don't think sort of answers,
Oh
okay?
boy. Okay.
All right. Let's get started. Coffee or energy drink?
Coffee.
Coffee. Controller or M&K?
Controller.
Controller. Streaming or YouTube content?
YouTube content.
YouTube content. Does pineapple belong on pizza?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes,
Okay.
it does.
What is your favorite Respawn chair model?
Ooh, the Spire.
Spire. Okay. What was your first ever gamer tag?
I think it was Dark Venom 775.
Dark Venom 775. What is your favorite non-mainstream game you secretly love?
I love the Fable games.
Okay.
Since the beginning.
Okay. Community builder or content creator first?
Community builder, I would say.
Community builder. Short or long form content preference for viewing?
I enjoy doing long form a lot more.
Okay. Editing and recording. Which feels like more work?
More work? Editing.
Editing? Okay. Limitless or Respawn first? Which role challenged you more at the start?
Oh, I'll plead the fifth on that.
All right, fair enough. Do you prefer launching new projects or scaling existing ones?
Probably launching new ones.
Launching new ones. All right, we're going to take a quick freeze round. All right. How are you feeling so far about halfway into this?
I'm feeling pretty good. It's I'm more so just trying not to answer like any like insane questions I would get, you know.
No, that's fair. That's fair. It's so I'm gonna go back to the Limitless or Respawn question. I wasn't asking you which one you prefer as a company. I just wanted to know which one was more challenging when you first started in that role. So,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Are
you?
But
are
we
we
already
gonna,
played the
like,
fifth.
redo that
No,
one,
we already
or-
played the fifth. You're all good. You're
Okay,
all good.
gotcha.
The less money I have to spend out of my pocket, the better. So it's,
Fair.
But in this freeze round, you are only allowed one-word answers, even though you've kind of been doing that already. But no elaboration whatsoever. These are going to be
Okay.
considered a little more maybe hot seat questions, you know, that you might want to like back up your answer for. So one-word
Okay.
answers only for these next 4 questions only. Failure to answer will be considered a forfeit. All right, we good?
Mm-hmm.
Which FPS game has the straightest shooters?
Call of Duty.
Call of Duty? What creator do you think has fallen off and should just quit content?
I'll plead the fifth.
All right. To the nearest $1,000, how much did you make in 2024?
I'll plead the fifth. That's insane.
What is one skill that most creators need that they don't have nowadays?
Listening.
Listening. All right. Well, that ends the fast money, so to speak. Oh man, all right. So I'm gonna put you in a situation, okay? You have 8 questions left. None of them are gonna be that hot topic anymore.
I got you.
Answer normally, 5 seconds kind of thing. We are going to get into some hypotheticals. I will give you a little bit of time because some of them might be a little bit more difficult to answer.
Okay.
But we'll go ahead and go into our last 3 main questions here. Give me the Mount Rushmore of streamers, the 4 founding fathers of streaming.
Ooh. I would say probably Ninja. Underrated one I would say is Shroud. I'm trying to really think of the older ones, I would say. So there's Ninja, Shroud, Frick. Oh Lord, this is hard.
Gonna put some pressure on you. Gonna put
Yeah.
the hand up. 5, 4.
So probably Tim. So
Okay.
so Ninja Shroud Tim. Maybe. Dang it! I can't think of like. I can't think.
Ninja Shroud Tim. All right. I mean, that's a pretty solid 3 out of 4 list, though. You know, that's. I don't think anyone can disagree with at least one of the people on that list. You know, that's a pretty respectable list.
Yeah.
If you weren't in gaming, what is the closest other career field you'd see yourself fit in away from the online space entirely?
Oh, from like internet in general?
Just like away from like this gaming space where you're working with like companies as a partnership manager or anything like that. Like, what is?
Oh, probably graphic design. I would say. I mean, there's so many different ways that you can do graphic design, whether it be like physically or off electronics or digitally or anything like that.
Yeah, absolutely. So. And what is the hardest personal project you've ever completed?
Personal project? What do you mean? Like whether that be like?
I mean, video, like maybe a personal graphic design project, maybe a branding, like personal.
Probably the like Limitless graphics, I would say. Okay. Probably the RLCS graphics that we have. I've done the main like majority of it, if that makes sense. Yeah. We do have a design team, but I've been just grinding, doing the game day posts, the victory and defeat graphics, the champion posters, and all that stuff, and messing around with the player headshots and all that stuff.
That's awesome. Yeah. Now I'm gonna give you 5 hypotheticals. Okay, you're gonna have 10 seconds to answer each of these because I'm gonna give you a little bit of time to think on your answer here. Okay. You can either decide to go in depth with them or not if you don't want to. So we're gonna go into our first hypothetical here. You have to replace your alarm clock with a sound from any video game. What sound wakes you up every day?
Ooh. Dang. Probably like a Fortnite hand cannon. Oh. just like the loudest, like deep fried hand cannon sound effect. It'd be so cursed.
Yeah, I'd say that one probably jerks you awake. You don't have to worry about sleeping through the alarm. Oh man. All right. You have to cast a movie about your life. What is the genre?
Sorry, I didn't hear you.
What's the genre of the movie?
The genre? Probably like, I don't know, thriller. Sometimes it'd be psychological horror.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we won't touch on that one. All right. So you now live full time inside your favorite games world. Where are you waking up tomorrow?
Like any game world?
Any game world.
Ooh. Probably like Minecraft. I don't know.
That's valid. No, that's probably a pretty relative answer to a lot of people. So.
Yeah. Because I thought Call of Duty, and I'm like, oh, I don't know about that, or like any of the games that I play, which are like action, and I'm like, oh, I don't know.
I always bounce my answer there between Minecraft and Pokemon. Like those are my two like main fucking answers for that question always. Now, back up or a rolling question into that. You were a villain in this gaming universe. What's your evil catchphrase?
My evil catchphrase. Dang. I have no idea.
Come on, man. I was expecting maybe the bird, like a siren or something. I was expecting some of that creativity to come out of full circle there. All right, we got your last question here, okay? You have to build an esports org themed around one random household item. What's the item?
What?
Just
probably like a Dyson fan.
A Dyson fan? What is the org called?
I'm not sure.
All right, fair enough. These are very like some of them were targeted, some of them weren't targeted. It was all right. I don't exist. Wind Esports. All right, there we go. Wind Esports. Everyone sign up and apply. Um, how do you feel about the icebreaker? Do you feel a little less tension now? Maybe relaxed a little bit.
Yeah,
All right,
yeah.
yeah, that's the point of it. All right, cool. Yeah, we got some answers out of there. Maybe by you pleading the fifth on some of those, we got some answers out of that as well. So we'll dive a little bit more into the financials of how much you made. No, I'm just kidding. No, that was good. I don't exactly know how much you scored or how many times you pled the fifth, but I'm pretty sure I counted at least four. So
Yeah.
there won't be any giveaways happening for that specific mini game, but you still have
Man.
options open up for the next two. But before we get to any more mini games, we have to get into our second act of the podcast, the Sith. This is all about who you are as a content creator, the journey that you made through what games you started with from Call of Duty to where you are now, that kind of fun stuff. So we'll just start off with what games or genres of games really shaped your style early on.
Oh, I mean, in my childhood, I really loved playing the Fable games, so like single player games and all that stuff. Even though I started content with like Call of Duty and everything, it was just like the game to play really at that point. Just the early 2010s, the late 2000s, that sort of thing. It was like everyone was trying to blow up from Call of Duty and just making those clips and stuff. But in terms of like overall, I would say single player games really have made a huge impact. So yeah, I would say really early on, Fable, and even there's this there's this one game that I really do enjoy. It's a game from Oddworld, and Oddworld they make super weird games, but I remember I played. It was more so just Fable, and there was one called Munch's Odyssey, and it's really cool. It's a really solid game.
Okay,
Just single player games in general.
that is
Really
valid.
were pretty awesome.
There's a really broad genre of single player games as a whole, but like it's full of some insane contenders for game of the years, pretty much across the board. A lot of variety that comes with single player games as well. Now I'm gonna make you narrow it in a little bit further, and maybe you'll be recalling some previous answers here. But if you could be remembered for your impact on one game community, this is your legacy in the gaming world as a content creator. You left an impact on one game community. Which one would it be and why?
Um, I'd probably say Fortnite in general. I mean, Fortnite is just overtaking the industry and they have been since like what, 2017 or something like
Yeah.
that. Um, and I really enjoy making Fortnite content whenever I can. Or just being involved in the community. Even recently, I've been technically collaborating with larger creators in the Fortnite space, and it's just the people there. When you find the good ones, obviously, like every community can be toxic at times, and it is what it is. But when you really find the gems in there, and you really insert yourself in a way and just grow and improve as a person by surrounding yourself with the good ones, can really make an impact. So I would say the one game community that really has made an impact on me, and probably an impact from me, is Fortnite for sure.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah, that's totally valid. Yeah, you
Hmm.
talked about some of the collabs that you've done. I think we'll touch on that a little bit later, but if we don't, feel free to reel that back in because you have had some pretty big collabs, especially recently, in the Fortnite community that are pretty awesome to see. So, was there ever a moment that you thought, when thinking about your responsibilities as a manager and a community manager and as a creative director, maybe instead I'll just go and be a full time creator. Like, has that ever been a thought that's crossed your mind at this point?
Probably, honestly, no.
Okay,
To be honest, I
fair.
mean, well, before I became a more brand oriented in a way in terms of like my profession, I did want to be a creator, if that makes sense, like just go full time or have the means to go full time. But ever since I've been in like other teams, like for example, I was in Elevate and Northern Forces at the same time. I think in like 2021, 2022. And I was the creative director for Northern Forces for I think a year plus. So I was like going through and delegating the work to our design team, and going through the projects and stuff like that, and all the different like thumbnails for the videos. And so really getting that experience of being a more than just a creator and being a creative director really is like changed my perspective. It's like I just want to exist in the community, if that makes I just want to exist as a person and just go my own way instead of just being a full-time creator or being full-time
That's valid.
as a creative director. Like I just want to have like a little bit of all worlds, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So like I want to try and have I want to try and wear all the hats, if that makes sense.
No, that's valid.
But you know, just have my hand in everything, and
Yeah, and then whatever happens, happens.
yeah.
Opportunities are more able to be presentable if you
Hmm.
have a little bit of experience in everything, which I'm sure you've seen. Even doing what you're doing right now, a lot more opportunities have
Hmm.
probably opened up to you because you aren't exclusively a manager or aren't exclusively a creator and stuff like that. So you're
Yeah.
able to maybe reap those rewards a little bit because you are willing to take those risks early on of spreading yourself, probably to the point of extremely thin. Um, so, uh, when people come across your content for the first time on your channels, what is one thing that you hope they walk away thinking about you?
Oh, I would say I've even talked about this like on stream before, or like in front of others, that I think a lot what I want people to take away is that they've enjoyed the video, if that makes sense, or they enjoyed the content.
Yeah.
Like I want people to like escape, in a way, to escape into the content, to escape into the streams
Hmm.
and stuff, because like the real world is crazy out there, and
Yeah.
it has been for a while. And just being able to not think about that sort of stuff out there in the real world, and just enjoy your time watching my content, or watching your content, or anyone's content,
Yeah.
really. I have that sort of philosophy of like, I want to make someone's like day, or even someone's hour, or something like that. And just like if someone smiled, like that's priceless to me. And I think that's a huge takeaway that I want people to take from
Yeah.
my content, is that if you didn't think about any like even personal situations, like anything that's going on in your life, or just in general, if you can not think of that for an hour, and I was the one that achieved that, that's freaking awesome.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And enjoying yourself watching the content and that sort of stuff.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
think a lot of people, maybe like us, can agree that we wish more creators would think like that. A lot of creators are very monetary driven and stuff like that, which we will talk about in a little bit.
Mm,
But yeah, that's a great answer, and I'm definitely on the same wavelength with you. There is just trying to create that escape for people.
yeah.
Is there a piece of content that you have produced throughout your time that maybe it didn't perform numbers wise, but like it is your proudest project thus far?
I mean, regardless of numbers, my proudest thing probably has been hosting the Respawn Recruits 2025 competition. I think that's probably the most challenging thing anyone could really do, because I was the sole person.
Yeah.
None of the partners really had a say in who was going through the next week or anything like that. I was the one that was every Monday. I would be up at like 9 a.m. and I would just bulk watch everyone's videos, and this would be like hundreds of videos, and I would be sort of this sole judge, and I would be bringing on so many people every week, and I would be cutting like 50 or 30 people per week and stuff like that. And that happened for like 10 weeks in a row. That's got to be the proudest thing I've ever done. It's crazy. It's got to be the largest thing I've ever done.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I would say that takes precedence over any project that I've done. It's just so hard to do it. Even with multiple people, it's probably hard to do it. Like I remember some of the older Respawn recruits, they would have like thousands of creators
Yeah.
and maybe like 2 or 3 managers, and even they probably had a lot of issues, running that and stuff. So
Yeah.
I can only imagine if one person did that with thousands of creators. Like, it's impossible. It's literally impossible
Next
to
year, man. That's what
truly,
you're gonna have to deal
yeah,
with next year.
yeah,
One
yeah,
person,
yeah,
thousands of entries.
yeah.
Fuck. We'll
Oh
see.
boy.
Maybe.
But yeah, that's probably the proudest thing for sure. And even some of my recruits, veterans, have come to me saying, like, dude, this is like the best Respawn recruits I've ever been through, and I've been doing it since like 2020 or 2019 or something like that. And like that's so awesome to hear. Truly, like it's pretty cool. Like and the preparation process as well. Like I remember when I first got in as the community manager, that was back in October of last year. And literally right off the bat, it was like we have to think of the recruits. And like literally the first couple of weeks, I had to just start thinking of the structure of the entire competition. And I took inspiration from game shows. Like a huge inspiration for me was Big Brother. So I was taking ideas from that and then trying to implement it. It was awesome. So
Yeah, absolutely. And
mhm.
I've heard that story quite a few times throughout the last, 6 months ish, maybe longer. But there's a lot of people out there who haven't heard it before, which is super important. If you guys haven't heard of Respawn Recruits, obviously that's the company that I'm partnered with. That Sith is the community manager of. We sell great um, chairs. We sell really great chairs. And some sick merch. I have my shirt over
Yeah,
there, but I'm not gonna go reach for it. Go copy yourself some Respawn merch. You could use code Frosty if you guys want to save yourself at checkout. But the
that'll be
Respawn recruit competition is something entirely unique to pretty much any company out there, where you can pretty much exclusively partner with the company through winning a competition. Through For the past few years, it's been a few hundred participants, 300, 400, whatever it's been. But in the past, up to 1,000, and only about anywhere from 3 to 10 people walk away with a partnership at the end of it all. Think of, on a larger scale, a competition that comes to mind is like Phase One, where thousands to tens of thousands of people competed for a spot in Phase. Or
yep.
Luminosity's Rising Stars is another big one that just happened. If you guys are familiar with that competition, think of it as a recruitment challenge for a brand partnership. That's essentially what Respawn Recruits is. So yeah,
Hmm.
super big deal. With Sith running that by himself, it's a massive accomplishment for how successful it went, and I think a lot of people definitely commend you on how that entire competition was ran.
Heck
So
yeah, yeah. I'm super proud of that. That was awesome.
yeah. So being part of the brand side of things, as long as you have been, how has that changed the course of the way that you think about your personal content?
Oh, it's changed. I would say I wouldn't say it's changed, but it's improved. I would say
Okay.
in a way, like I've built upon what I've already thought of, if that makes sense. Like I remember being on the other side as just a content creator and not knowing what's going on behind the scenes with a brand, like not really understanding what it's like to be a partner manager, what it's like to be a community manager. Like I kind of did, but I didn't, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But now being a creative director and a community manager and being a content creator, like I've been on all 3 sides of it, and that's improved a lot when I look at content, if that makes sense. Like
Yeah. Absolutely.
I would be like I have weekly meetings with the people at Respawn, and sometimes we would talk about certain not individual creators, but like the type of content that we want to see from certain people, or the type of content that we want to see in general, whether it be changing up the recruits or changing up certain things, or like different deliverables when it comes to like monthly like advertisements for the companies and stuff. So like it's really improved my way of thinking with content. Like I've even helped my team Limitless with certain things. Um, because of my unique perspective of being the community manager. So like I would be they would be talking about certain projects and I would be giving them advice or I'd be giving them ideas because I did this and this and this during my preparation for the Respawn recruits competition and all that sort of stuff. So I've really um used my knowledge in to my advantage, I would say. So
Yeah.
it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's you're definitely in a situation where I don't know if a lot of people would even consider posting personal content with how much that you currently do for brands, but being able to balance the personal content first off with your brand work, you
Mm,
definitely get to see um, maybe get different ideas from people that are thinking more brand savvy that you don't have to necessarily compete with in individual content, and getting to see
mm.
the insight of like what brands look for, so you have maybe more insight into partnering with major brands and stuff like that in the future because you have that knowledge of what brands look at from a creator standpoint. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
that is that accurate, would you say?
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, I wouldn't say it's completely like a non thing when it comes to like other creators. Like I don't want to compare myself to other creators, obviously. But it's definitely like a unique perspective that
Yeah.
you can have on creating content and the way that you want to do things when you do have experience as a manager or a part of a staff with a company in the gaming industry or something like that.
Yeah.
For sure. It definitely helps a lot.
Yeah, that's definitely fair.
Hmm.
So if you had to drop a piece of advice to creators who are maybe just starting out, who want to
Hmm.
stay authentic and grow at the same time, they want to stay true to themselves, but they also want to see that result with the numbers. What would your advice be to them?
Um, I would say the number one word that I would give to anyone is listen. I would say be like a sponge for a good portion of starting out in content creation and everything. So like whenever you're looking at a video, like even on YouTube, even if you're not really looking to improve that day or something like that, or learn, like you always want to try and learn at least one thing every day. So you would think of like when watching a certain movie, even or a certain video, like try and take in how they're doing it, what they're doing in that particular scene, or that editing style, or the way that they're even talking. Maybe try and determine if that's scripted or not, or like just certain things you got to really think about and just listening to others like even like other content creators, like definitely networking is a huge thing. So like when you're networking with other content creators, like listen to what like any advice that they want to give you, or maybe even like ask them questions. I mean, a lot of content creators, most content creators don't bite, in my honest opinion. So I'm sure that a lot of people are more than happy to help out with learning more on certain things or equipment or tips and tricks on things, or even like resources. Like a huge example, I would always give the Respawn recruits help when it comes to like learning certain things. Like I would be providing resources or websites to go to or people to talk with. Like we have so many different content creators at Respawn and even at Limitless. Like it's just incredible. So there's so many people out there that are making content, and they're more than happy to help out, and just listening and being like a sponge is huge.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. I mean,
yeah.
even myself being in the space for going on almost 13 years now, I've been across different communities, but regardless, through Respawn Recruits, I had my list of 10 to 15 people that reached out to me for advice on the most recent recruits. They would ask me to review and how they can improve on their future videos and stuff like that. But at the same
Hmm.
time, um, back when I was in recruits, or even now, still today, I have my list of five, six, seven people who I ask to review my videos before I post them, to
Yeah.
look over certain things and make sure that nothing gets past me that I may have missed, stuff like that. Um, it doesn't just have to be like when you're starting out. You know, I've been doing this longer
Hmm.
than some people watching this may have been alive. You know, that God, that makes me sound
Right.
so
Yeah.
fucking old. But it's it's a lot of there's a lot of ways to be successful, but I think being able to absorb that knowledge, like you said, and being able to be
Hmm.
willing to learn is
Yeah.
definitely a massive point that maybe a lot of people even miss right now. So
Hmm. Hmm.
now I'm gonna ask you a opinion that may be considered a hot take.
Hmm.
It will be considered a hot take. I want you
I got you.
to think of the kind of meme where it's the tangled guy. I think his name is Flynn, with all the swords pointed at him in the bar, and
Okay.
he's got all
Yeah.
the swords to his throat. What is
Hmm.
your hot take gaming opinion? A hill that you will absolutely die on that most would
Um,
probably disagree with.
it's not really like a hot take, but like I really think that Fortnite is just gonna be the juggernaut for like another 10, 20 years. I really feel like um where Fortnite is wanting to be right now, they don't really have the means for it at the moment. But like I really think that Fortnite is gonna be going into like an oasis sort of thing. So I think like Ready Player One, where Fortnite is like bringing all these different collaborations together right now, and you know certain things might not be a thing right now in the game, or certain people who want to make like creative maps in the game, they can't really do certain things at the moment, but years and years down the line it's probably going to be like the number one stop for gaming, period. Like I really think that Fortnite is gonna like become Steam, if that makes sense.
Okay,
Its own marketplace, I guess.
that's
I
fair.
wouldn't really say it's like a hot take, but like I truly think Fortnite is gonna be like the number one for like anything and everything gaming.
Hmm. That's
Like
an
years down the
interesting
line.
one. I don't know
Yeah.
if it would be considered a hot take or if a lot of people are agreeing with you there, but that is interesting. Um,
Hmm.
Now I'm gonna ask you to consider yourself specifically as a creator right now. If any of the
Hmm.
brands that you are either managing or affiliated with, partnered with, if any one of those companies came up to you tomorrow and said you have to launch your own personal product line through like whatever brand that is, kind of thing,
Hmm.
what piece are you creating?
Um, like
Did that
a
make
product or
sense?
something,
Yeah,
or
yeah. So like One Shot, Respawn, Limitless, any other creators that you or any other companies that you are partnered with or affiliated with, sponsored by, they
Mhm.
ask you, one of those companies asks you to launch your own personal product line, like Yellow Snow for myself with Glitch.
Mhm.
Um, which company are you creating a product for, and what is the product? Like the product name, if it's One Shot, what flavor, that kind of thing.
Okay. I've definitely thought about it for sure before. I would just give examples with like people that I'm working with right now. So, like One Shot Energy, they make energy chews. So like it's almost like a Starburst candy, but it's sort of like a alternative to energy drinks and such. Um, I feel like I would make the flavor first, like just trying to understand how they do that with the flavor, like certain ingredients or certain things, trying to work that out first, because that's just probably the hardest thing you can do, is trying to recreate something as a flavor. And that goes for like any food product. Like it's probably hard as heck to like recreate things in like certain ways, if that makes sense. So um the flavor first I would probably tackle. And I think my flavor would probably be like the sour watermelon gummies. Like, you know, like
Okay.
those half slice watermelon gummies are like super nice. It'd
Yeah.
probably be that.
Okay.
Yeah, I really like those watermelon gummies. That'd probably be my flavor for if I had the opportunity to do a flavor with One Shot or
Awesome.
something like that. It'd
Awesome.
probably be like Sith melon or something like that.
Sith melons. It's, I
Or
love that. All right.
uh, yeah.
Um, do you remember? what your hang on, let me rephrase it. Do you remember what
Hmm.
your first piece of content was that you ever like put out officially? Your first official piece of posted
Ooh.
content?
Well, I think I kind of remember, but I was so dumb enough that I just deleted some of my old content off the
Mm,
face of the earth. Like I
yeah,
remember
me too.
making videos in like 2016, 2017. Most of those videos are gone.
Yep,
Completely gone.
yep.
And it's so unfortunate. But I think the first few videos I ever did was Call of Duty. So it was probably like it what game came out in 2016? So that would have been in Infinite Warfare, I think. I
Black
think
Ops
that's what
2, I
it
believe,
was.
was 2012. So Black Ops 2, Ghost, Advanced Warfare,
Yeah.
Black Ops
I
3, yeah, I think Infinite.
Yeah, Infinite Warfare. So I didn't make content on that. I made content on the Modern
Modern
Warfare
Warfare
Remastered.
Remastered, yeah.
So yeah, it was MW Remastered, and I remember I think it was just a hide and seek video, and then I made another one like that. That's the oldest video on my channel. But some other videos I made were on Rainbow Six Siege. So that was like in its first year. I think it came out 2015, and it's still a game now. So I made content on that. Like it was just weird, funny moment videos, pretty much. That's all it was. Just trying to get the clip or trying to, get funny moments. And oh my lord, like if you look at my old content now, it's like super cringe, just like shy Sith, just
I think that's
super
everybody,
like
It's
yeah, yeah. Like my voice was just so different than what it
you
was.
definitely come into
Um,
yourself as
mhm.
you create content longer. I my first videos were in 2009, dude. Like
Oh man.
I I'm 24 now in 2025. Like 2009, what is 16 years ago?
Mhm.
Fuck. Like I 2009, that was like MW2 ages. Like
Yeah.
2013 is when I first started actually considering myself a content creator, because that's when I was starting to finally like get some traction in the space.
Mhm.
But 2009, man, I was posting videos like the raw 37-4 gameplay, whatever, just like,
Yeah,
oh my god, you just
yeah.
got shit on in fucking MW2
Yeah, that
lobbies.
was that was before the Elgato capture card, right?
Yeah,
So it's like
I'm
I
recording
remember
on my
people
phone
were
and shit. Yeah,
yeah,
it's
yeah, like
yeah.
recording the CRT screen and you can see like the pixels
Yeah,
on the
yeah.
screen and it was like super blown out
You can just hear like
like
30-year-old
brightness and
men in my headset in the background, like, shut up, little kid. Fuck it. Yeah,
yeah.
it was horrible.
People recording their screens. Oh my gosh. That is yeah. Wow.
So, can you tell me a little bit about where the gamer tag possibly Sith came from? There's very
Oh
few
yeah.
people out there. There's a lot of people who do like it's blank or not blank, or
Mhm.
any variation of that. Where
Was
did
taken.
possibly Sith? Yeah, yeah, was taken. Yeah.
So yeah, possibly Sith. So my original name, I thought of in 2012. So I was, I think, 11 years old that time. And it was just a time where I was just super into Star Wars for like no reason.
Mhm.
And I was like, I'm having like I had so much trouble with my gamer tag and like just having one stick. And this was like Xbox 360 days and oh my god, you even had to pay to change your name back then. I remember that. You had to pay Xbox points to change your gamer tag on the Xbox 360. So it was like every few months I would be paying to change my name. So I was like, this is it. This is like the last name change. And my original name was Sith Gaming.
Mm.
So it was Sith Gaming for quite a few years. And then during high school, I was like a smartass. And every time we did roll call, I would say I'm possibly here,
Possibly here. Yeah.
potentially here, possibly here. So I just took that and I dropped the gaming and I did possibly Sith. So it's a joke from like high
Fair.
school where it's like
Okay.
I'm possibly here. And so I did it's possibly Sith
I like
on all
that.
socials.
I like that.
So yeah.
Um, okay. Yeah, I like that. Was there ever a point, maybe early on or even now, where you feel a pressure to kind of like fit a mold of what a successful creator looks like, as far as like what content they're producing, or in order to hit an algorithm or anything along those lines?
Um, at first I did. Well, just making content in general, back in like 2016 until I really like started taking this serious. Like I didn't really take this serious until like the early 2020s. So like it's really like I'm just still so new to everything. But you know, having that experience of being a creator and all that stuff. But yeah, there was definitely a lot of like internal pressure. Not, I wouldn't say pressure from anyone else. It was more so just it grew into pressure
Yeah.
from like comparing yourself to other creators and saying, oh, like this person is doing the same thing that I'm doing, but they're getting so much larger numbers or whatever. It's like you're comparing yourself, and then at the same breath you're also pressuring yourself to be that sort of creator, and even trying to emulate your other creators, like
Yeah.
trying to emulate other creators in your space, and trying to like almost like be that creator, not really be yourself, but like pressuring yourself to be sort of like a fake in a sense
Yeah.
to get larger numbers and everything. So yeah, I mean, I did feel it for a little bit, that sort of pressure that was gained by comparing myself to other people, and other, you know, videos and creators and stuff. But I don't really feel that pressure anymore. Like I haven't for years, and it's by in part of like just being in my own lane and just existing, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, it
So
does for sure.
it's like once you stop comparing, and once you just try and just upload in general, once you just alleviate any like internal doubt and
Hmm.
internal um you know, mindset, like bad mindsets in a way, that's when the pressure sort of is just non-existent.
Right.
So I've internalized where it's like I can just do my own thing, and I don't really care.
Yeah.
So
No,
it's
that's valid.
like having like no care in the world, but to an extent. So like to be a creator, you kind of have to care, but also, you know, just not caring about other creators and just being in your own lane and being yourself. That pressure sort of completely goes away
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Um, when it comes to the content that you've been creating, what was the first like taste of momentum that you ever had? Like where was your first
Mm.
like virality? Where did it come from?
Um, Honestly, I don't even know if I went viral at all. But
All right, let me
no,
get let me
I
give a better example. Where did you get noticed to participate in events like Courage's creator
oh,
stuff like that?
I think more so it was just me putting myself out there in
Okay.
general. It wasn't through like viral videos or anything like that, but like just like that example of collaborating with people like Courage in his videos. How I came about that was he just made a general tweet saying, "Hey, I'm looking for content creators to do a $10,000 hide and seek," and that was the very first ever $10,000 hide and seek like ever, which is pretty awesome. And I just a lot of people were doing sort of like general tweets saying like, "Oh, hey, like I'm here," and they weren't really like wanting to stand out amongst the other Twitter posts and like the comments. So what I did was I basically just took a photo of myself with all my lighting and everything and like the quality that I can produce, and I posted it on that comment. So Courage and the whole bunch and his team basically saw, you know, the quality of like the camera and, you know, the everything, and they were interested, and they just came to me and said, "Hey, you want to participate?" And, you know, so that was pretty awesome. So it wasn't really from like a content piece, if that makes sense. It was more so just like people like coming to me to collaborate because I put myself out there.
Yeah.
And that's another huge thing, is like it's not just from getting like viral content pieces or whatever. It's for inserting yourself in you know, good ways, if
Yeah.
that makes sense. Not like in a self promo way or anything like
Yeah,
that,
right,
but
right, right.
like just being yourself and, you know, reaching out and networking and all that stuff. So yeah, that was a huge part of like, damn, like people are noticing me. Like
Right.
this is dope, you know?
Right, right. Now on the
Yeah.
flip side of that, what was your first like crash out moment, so to speak? What was something that
Mm.
happened that made you like question your knowledge of like the content space? Like you thought something would pop off but it didn't kind of thing or something like that?
Oh, I don't know. I never really anytime like a video would flop or whatever, like at least in my eyes, if it would flop, I would just whatever, like GG go next, you know?
Okay, fair
Like
enough.
that's just like my mentality with a lot of content. But I would say I don't really crash out to be honest. Like even on stream or on videos, oh man, there was one moment a long time ago. And this is like a video that I deleted like 2016
Okay.
where I actually raged at a video game. So that's like the last time that I really like on camera actually crashed out. Like I banged my desk and everything. Like, it was hilarious. But nah, in a genuine like moment, I where I questioned everything, I think it was more so just technical difficulties. Like, I think that's a huge thing where it sucks to have technical difficulties. It's like when you're in the space and you know your equipment well enough and everything just craps out for no reason. It's just like, you know, like this has been working for so long. Like I don't understand.
Right.
So I guess it's more so like behind the scenes where it's like, if this doesn't work and this doesn't work, I give up. Like
Right.
I've done that
Okay.
before
Yeah.
for sure. So it's you know, I don't know. I have a certain mindset where I'm just like, just go next. You
Yeah.
know,
Fair enough.
it's not worth spending that sort of energy on it. I
Yeah.
don't know.
No, that's valid.
Yeah.
Um, how has being part of the business side of content, being with managing and everything like that, how has
Hmm.
that changed the way that you approach your personal content? Are you maybe more strategic or cautious, or do you go into things maybe less fearless because you know certain things do and don't work?
Um. Well, I mean, it's more so just improved my way that I do content, I guess. It's just like I understand what people are looking for. It's I don't know. And just collaborating with a whole bunch of other creators, you know, within Respawn and you know getting their thoughts on certain things with content, I guess, and just looking at their content and you know improving the way that I do things because I saw their content. You know, it's just
Yeah.
being a sponge again, like
Yeah.
all this time, like I'm still being a sponge and like looking at other people's content. Like even hell, I will say there's been some like Respawn recruits that have inspired me. You know that there was certain creators that really stood out to me and truly, you know, like changed a certain way that I looked at content, which is pretty cool. Um, so yeah, I mean, managing certain areas of teams can improve the way that you do your own content, I would say. I would even imagine people at like Northern Forces with their recruitment challenges or like Obey with their recruitment challenges, whenever they manage those challenges and they see all this content and they see something that stands out, I'm sure that you know it'll inspire them to improve in their own content and that sort of stuff. So you know I can, yeah, I can definitely see it for
Yeah.
sure.
That's valid.
Yeah.
Um, Now, looking forward into the future, whether that's this year, next year, maybe 5 years down the line, if you're still creating content then, what is something that you want to create that you maybe don't have the necessary skills or equipment to create right now? What's a style of video that you've maybe seen that you're like, someday this is on my bucket list of content I want to create?
Oh, honestly, I really do like the way that I don't know, like the Kai Cenat's sort of like his streams, like
Yeah.
whenever he does like the long form streams, like probably weeks on end, and he has so many different collaborations, and this is just a constant stream, a constant 24/7 live stream. It's the I can't speak. It's one of the most unique things that I've seen for sure. and you know, more recently with Kai, I would say. It's like having like the time and the energy and the money is just not it right now,
Yeah.
and probably won't be for a long time. But you know, it's definitely a dream to like do something like that, and you know, have funny moments, have like an iCarly sort of thing going on.
Right.
I don't know. Just have
Yes.
like a constant, like ever changing like TV show, I guess.
Yeah.
Like that's pretty much what it's changed into. It's like a 24/7 TV show.
Right.
Like a
Yeah.
just
Well,
one
welcome
episode,
back
just
to episode
weeks long.
whatever of, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like just one episode weeks long, and that's the season, just one episode. And it's like so many weeks long or whatever. I don't know. I feel like this is the most unique thing you can do content wise, for sure, because it's number one, it's live, and you have to like do so many different things behind the scenes at the same time.
Can, can
That's pretty awesome.
can I put you on something as a designer that I would love to see from you
Yeah.
that maybe you haven't considered or thought of? I mean, being in the Call of Duty space, it's probably fair to assume you've heard of like Vanoss and stuff
Oh
like
yeah.
that crew.
Oh yeah.
You
Oh
know,
yeah.
you know when they started doing their like original content and then they started re-uploading their old content like 10 years ago, but they did it in animation style.
Right. Yeah. 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 That's a good idea
I
too.
would love to see that from you. Like, so, I would love to see that kind of
That'd be
just
sick.
having like a funny moments compilation with friends or whatever, and then just re-uploading
Yeah.
it like
Oh man. Yeah.
a
Like the
year
fan
later or
art,
something.
like the
Yeah,
fans that do that as well. Like
yeah,
the reanimated. Yeah.
that stuff is
I
so
do like
cool.
that. Yeah. It is.
Um,
That's sick.
Even just still framing it and just playing the video over it kind of thing, and just having a bunch of individual scenes. That should just it makes it almost funnier than the original thing because like it's
Yeah. You have
a
like
lot
the
of times
OG
it's
audio.
not. Yeah, the OG audio, and it's not at all what's actually happening in the scene, but they make
Yeah.
like a
Yeah.
completely different scene out of it. I'm like, all right, whatever. I'm like,
Yeah.
um, yeah, no, that's awesome. But yeah, the Kai Cenat thing is definitely like, dude, that guy is knowing exactly how to capitalize on the situation that he's in right now. Like
Hmm.
he's
Hmm.
doing it absolutely correctly, and even going as far past like not even considering the guests, just the games that he plays, completely pimping out the setup, like his background and everything that
Yeah.
goes with it. I mean, there's people that we work with directly, like Billy Goat. When
Hmm.
she does her Elden Ring streams, it's hard to imagine that she did not get inspired by Kai in some way. She changes up, her overlays, her raid
Yeah,
message, like
that's a
everything
good
through.
way to like pivot, because obviously you don't have all the money in the world to do, you know, those types of productions,
Right.
especially like the physical sets and stuff. Like he like Kai usually has like a movie set for
Yeah.
like every game that he plays, like ever.
Yeah.
And like I remember like that Batman series, he had like freaking like four different movie sets or something like that, four
Yep.
different gaming setups, and all of them just looked like top notch. Like there's no
Yep.
way. So the way that for example, like Billy Goat, she really pivoted and she basically did a Kai Cenat sort of production, but a digital production,
Yeah.
which is super awesome. Like thinking of like all the alerts to play, the sub alerts, you know, follow alerts, or you know, all that sort of stuff. Even like when she gets raided or something like that.
Yeah.
So like think of all the different scenes and like the just chatting scenes and you know different segments through a stream, but doing that production digitally is super awesome. Like I remember when she was doing that first stream there with Meld Studio, like she
Mm.
had I think they said that like she was having some technical difficulties, and literally Meld was like, dude, you have like 300 or
Yeah. Yeah.
something like
Yes.
browser
See.
sources.
Yeah.
Like that's insane. Like I can only imagine like that many resources being used on a computer,
I
but
can't
you know,
imagine
like
being the Meld employee being brought into that call and looking at it and like, all right, let's see here. You got one scene with, oh my fucking god. Like,
yeah, literally. But I mean, it's just the way of the game, and
yeah.
that was really cool to see. That was like I would say is another like super unique way to do it,
Hmm.
you know, and you know just pivoting and adapting to it, and you know changing your stream that way is pretty awesome.
Absolutely.
And it's I mean that's inspired me. I mean that's so cool. Yeah.
Um, Looking back at everything that you've you've done and that you built both personally and professionally, how has your definition of success changed through the years?
Um, I would say, well, hmm, it's interesting because success is very subjective. Um, I would say, well, for quite a few years, a long time ago, I always thought success was just, financial success and, just, being in your bag sort of thing in
Yeah,
a way, being super comfortable. But I would say um, success is super subjective. It's it's hard to explain, but success for me personally is like leaving an impact um on someone, if that makes sense. Like if I make someone smile through my content or the way that I do things, um I call that success
yeah,
for sure. And that's just overall. It doesn't have to be financial, doesn't have to be like any other type of success. Like success in general is like if I made someone happy for like an hour or something like that, if they saw a video, that's success to me. If certain things or projects go really well, I would call that success. um it's just in general in life
yeah,
is making my impact in a really good way. I would call that success for sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Hmm.
Um, I'm gonna put you in a scenario quickly here for the next couple of questions.
Hmm.
You travel back through time to the point where maybe you start playing games, or back to 2016 when you're about to create your first video, right?
Hmm.
If you could keep your knowledge right now, going back in time and talking to your 2016 self, what
Hmm.
is a piece of advice that you would give to 2016 Sith?
Oh yeah. I would say it's try not to fit the mold, like break the mold in a way.
Okay.
So it's like you don't have to like create Call of Duty videos. You don't have to do this. You don't have to do that. You do see people being successful at it, yes, but success comes in many different shapes and forms, and um, just being in your own lane and just doing you is all that you can really do. Really, all you can do is just do your best and just go through the journey. Just go through it, even the bad times, the good times. Just go through it, go through the ringer pretty much.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say that that's a huge piece of advice is to not compare yourself, not try and fit the mold, try and fit in, and just do what you feel is best
Yeah.
for sure.
Now, keeping on that same situation there.
Hmm.
After you give this piece of advice to 2016 Sith, what can you thank 2016 Sith for that has attributed to who 2025 Sith is?
Oh, probably just just doing the journey up until this point, like I remember making my Twitter account in 2017. I think it was October 2017 or something like that. And then trying to network. Like I remember doing the grind. Like I was in the trenches on Twitter trying to get as many opportunities as I can. And this is like well before I became like anyone really in any gaming organization and stuff. Like I was just by myself, completely alone on Twitter and just trying to network with others. And I remember I would be doing even free graphic design work. I remember I was scammed. I was scammed out of money, out of payment and stuff. And I remember going through the works and everything, and the doubt from other people and all that stuff. So I definitely have to thank going through the bad times for sure to be here 100%.
I always try to imagine and picture myself going through the situation where I had to, like your situation, you made the connections through Twitter. You were constantly networking, stuff like that. My
Hmm.
situation was I got into a lobby with a clan who had connections, um, and I was simply just recording some like camo grinding videos or whatever.
Hmm.
Um, and I happened to be streaming, and they came through my stream. It was a 6 man, and I was the only person who didn't back out of the lobby. We got absolutely fucking slammed, and I was the
But
only person.
you
I
still
was the
went
only
with it.
person who didn't back out because I was just going for long shots. I just need a long
Hmm.
shots. I don't give a fuck if we win or lose. So I was just trying to get
Hmm.
a couple of kills, and they came into my stream and they commended me, and they were like, "Yo, you actually did like pretty solid. Like, do you want to hook up with us?" And I ended up joining that team, becoming a manager. A lot of the connections that I made through there, like they were like, "Oh
Hmm.
man, I really want to be part of Obey." Blah blah blah. Put me on with Obey, joined the Obey RC, and that's how I made pretty much all of the connections that I have now, whether it's directly or indirectly. Like that's how I met
That's
Hoffy,
awesome.
Monster Girl, like all of these people that I personally
Hmm.
know with Respawn. And then those connections obviously got me to other connections, got me into Respawn. That's how I met Terry, who introduced me to Respawn recruits. Like it's everything just kind of rolled from me not backing out of a Call of Duty lobby. It could be that simple, but I never had
Yeah,
to
it can
grind.
literally, yeah, it can be that simple for sure. And yeah, I definitely can admire that for sure. Yeah, I could definitely see that. Yeah,
It's a difference of
that's awesome.
scenarios like so drastically. Like I didn't start from zero and grind my way up, and like I appreciated every follower that came in, obviously, but it wasn't like, oh, I remember my first subscriber. Oh, I remember this. I remember every 10, every, you know what I mean? Like a lot of people are like that, but like for me, it was, I went from zero for like years. I'm like, this is
Hmm.
after I reset after my 2013 success with Ghost and everything. Went under a new brand, made new accounts, all that. This is after COVID, all that bullshit.
Hmm.
Um, and I just couldn't get any fucking traction. I couldn't understand. I used to like
Yeah.
build YouTube accounts and sell them off because it was so easy to get noticed before COVID. And then after COVID, I just like lost it. Like I couldn't figure out how to start a new account.
Yeah,
So
it's just it's like the balloon
yeah,
of people that like there was just no sports, no entertainment, no
yep,
nothing. It was just reruns of like your run of the mill TV shows pretty much.
exactly.
But there was no events, no sports, no nothing. So what people did was they just streamed,
Yeah,
and that just ballooned into so many people. And for the better as well, I would say, but
yeah,
also
for sure.
a lot of it also is desaturating the space in a way, but
It did 100%. Yeah.
or saturating. I don't know the word for it, but
Well,
um you know what
oversaturated
I
the
mean.
space as far as like how
Yeah.
many creators, but desaturated the value of the space where like people
Mm,
don't really maybe trust Call of Duty content anymore because it's all so cookie cutter and this and that. You know, it's like there's so
yeah.
many negative and positive in a way, but so many negative terms that come with.
Mm,
There is no individuality anymore. It's all,
mm,
oh, this person made a trend, and then 700,000 people followed that trend that one person made, and then it's like, well,
yeah.
okay, I don't want to see this trend anymore. But it's only been 24 hours, and you're already sick
Mhm.
of the trend that just started. Like
Right.
it's brutal.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely is for sure.
I have one final question here, and then we're gonna get into our second mini game. So,
Mhm.
what is something that was so like so big to you, so urgent to you early on in your career that you can look back on and be like, wow, that shit really just did not matter. Like something, does that
Um,
make sense the way I phrased that?
a little bit, I guess.
Something that you took
It's
super
really
seriously, super early on in your career that you felt like was utmost importance that you can now look back on and just be like, it really wasn't that important.
hmm, I don't know. In all honesty, I just put my 110% into like everything.
Okay,
To
that,
be fair,
that's fair.
I definitely feel like with my journey in general, I just everything I poured everything into it, into every aspect. Um, hmm, I really don't know what to say about that, but I would say a lot of things do matter for sure. I don't know. I can't really think of like one particular thing that doesn't really matter. Um, it's I don't know.
That's fair. No, that's totally fine. Um, So that does close off our largest portion of the podcast with the Sith. We're going to go ahead and go into our second mini game. Obviously, this revolves around a lot of your content. You mentioned in the next 10, 20, 30 years, Fortnite's probably going to be the beast of the gaming space, the content space in general. So it's only natural that I formed a mini game directly revolving around Fortnite, knowing your thoughts on the game. So
Oh boy.
I'm going to test your knowledge. I'm going to test, this is straight up a trivia quiz. I'm going to give you a breakdown of a drop spot from the history of Fortnite. It's
Okay.
going to be pretty detailed, and it's going to go in sections from easy, medium, hard to, I don't want to say impossible, because like I've been playing Fortnite for a while. I could have got one of the two of these, you know? So here's the rules. You have 10 questions, 7 to pass in order to stay on track for the grand prize, 10 in order to win some Limitless merch giveaway. It's going to be about $150 giveaway for some Limitless merch.
Nice.
So if you can get a perfect 10 out of 10, that is what is on the stakes right now. Do you have any questions on this? It's pretty simple. You're just going to name
So
the
like, are
drop
these
spot
like
location.
locations or something?
Yep, named locations.
Okay.
Named locations on the map. They will be named this like direct thing.
Okay.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go into question 1. This chaotic downtown battleground was famous for high-rise build fights, broken buildings, and third-party chaos. No matter where you landed, you weren't alone, and if you controlled the clock tower, you controlled the early game. Name this iconic Fortnite
Tilted
city.
Towers.
Tilted Towers. All right. Yeah, so you have an idea of how this is going to go now.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Question 2. A peaceful looking lake at the center of the map, but don't be fooled. It hosted massive events like the floating island, the cube collapse, and the rift portals. At least once it literally became a bouncy trampoline. Name this location tied to Fortnite's wildest live events.
Yeah, that's gotta be Loot Lake.
That is Loot Lake. All right. So we're going pretty easy here. This is question 3, the final question of our easy category.
Mm-hmm.
You want the wide open? You got it. This widespread farm had barns, silos, and fences, but little high ground. Perfect for players who loved early skirmishes and sniper setting traps in cornfields. Name this OG rural drop.
Ooh, because the OG, they had 2 farms in there. Is it Anarchy Acres or Fatal Fields?
It's Fatal Fields. It's Fatal Fields. All right.
Because there was Anarchy and there was Fatal.
Yeah, Fatal Fields. All right, you're 3 for 3. All right, we'll go to question 4 here. You have 6 left. You're on track for the perfect. I had to bump you a little bit, but it's fine. It's question 4. Perched dangerously high on a frozen mountain, this majestic stone castle watched over the icy biome during Season 7. Home of secret hidden rooms, a massive dungeon, and the Ice King's throne. Fall off the side and it was an instant elimination.
Right, so that would have been Polar Peak, right?
That is Polar Peak. Nailing it. You're nailing it. The visualization there, I can only imagine if people don't play Fortnite, this is probably just fucking miserable for them right now. But it's
yeah.
For a knowledgeable man such as yourself. All right, let's go ahead and go into question 5 here. You're on track here for a perfect score. When Fortnite went to the desert, this bustling oasis town became the sweatiest stop for solos and squads alike. Boasting hotels, fast cars, and an iconic tall motel sign, you either found quick loot or quick death. Name this sun-scorched hotspot.
Yeah, it was like the next tilted pretty much. It was Paradise Palms.
Paradise Palms. You are 5 for 5, halfway through, and you have yet to miss an answer. We'll go right into the last question of our medium category. Down in the murky waters of Chapter 2, players could heal simply by standing still. Surrounded by factory pipes and water towers, this swamp was the go-to place for safe looting until someone stacked you across the marsh.
Oh, no. I forgot about this one. Isn't it like a dam or something like that? It's gotta be Slurpy Swamps? Or...
Is that your final answer? That's where you're locking in?
Yeah.
Slurpy Swamps is actually going to... That's correct. That is 6 for 6. Had to drag you along there.
That was the hardest one.
Okay.
That was the hardest one.
Well, that's the final of the medium category. We're going to get into the more difficult ones here. Ones that you really have to be... You have to be a Fortnite player to know these locations.
Gotcha.
So we'll go right into question 7. You need 3 of these next 4 in order to be on track for the grand prize, and all 4 of these in order to get the Limitless giveaway. Sorry, I forgot where we were at. Question 7. Fog rolled through broken grave markers and half-standing chapels in this quiet edge-of-the-map graveyard. Loot was sparse, but the spooky atmosphere and low player traffic made it a stealthy favorite for early looters and hide-and-seekers.
Right. Is that Haunted Hills?
That is going to be Haunted Hills. All right.
Jeez, this is insane.
That's a perfect 7 for 7. You are on track now for the perfect score. You need all 3 of these. You have secured the victory for this minigame. Let's go ahead and go into question 8. On top of a snowy cliff stood this rugged Viking village, complete with wooden log houses, boat turned into homes, and a giant frozen anchor embedded in the rock. A perfect setting for hammer fights and scenic deaths if you slipped off the edge.
Oh, I don't even remember if that was an actual POI or not. Ooh, I know it's like next to like Snobby Shores or whatever. It's like on a mountain next to Snobby Shores. Shoot. Oh no.
I'm just gonna cut you off there.
This might get me.
Did you want to lock in like an actual guess?
I don't remember. It was like a landmark or something like that, or
okay.
Whatever.
Well, I will say this one, even though it technically was like it's its own individual thing, and you know what you're talking about. So the actual place itself was called the Viking Outpost, but you did get the POI of Snobby Shores, where it was actually located inside of. So the answer I was looking for was Snobby Shores. So you did get that answer.
I'm a nerd. Oh my god. Nah, that's insane.
That clears it up for the hard category. You're going into what is considered impossible. This, I'm looking for very specific POIs. They may not be named. They are inside of named locations, but I'm actually looking for the specific answer within the POI. So you might know the POI, but I'm not going to take the POI answer for these, okay?
Okay.
Somewhere deep in the woods, players discovered a sealed, featureless steel hatch buried into a random hillside. No doors, no explanation. It became the heart of endless conspiracy theories until Fortnite's story finally caught up years later. Name this mysterious landmark.
Yeah, I think I know. Isn't it chapter 2 or something like that? It's called Redacted, I'm pretty sure. Isn't it?
Do you know the name that it was tied to in the conspiracy theories by chance? The overwhelming
conspiracy theories?
Yeah, like the overwhelming name that the Fortnite community called this location.
Ooh,
or like where it was featured
really
at, or like the POI interest that it was located in.
Shoot. I actually don't remember exactly where it was located, but I know, like, I remember going into the game and finding that landmark, and it was called Redacted or something like that. I'm pretty sure it was like a tunnel system and everything, like in the side of a mountain.
The location that I have, it was located in Wailing Woods, and the popularized name for it was either the Wailing Woods Bunker or the Hidden Bunker is what it was popularized as.
Gotcha.
Does that familiar?
That's a whole
you?
different chapter.
Okay, so you know what I'm talking about then? Okay.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah.
I didn't even
bunker.
know about this, so I wanted to make sure that was a fair answer. So
yeah, I was thinking of a whole different area.
All right. So we finally stumped him with our first impossible question. We still have one more impossible question left here, so we may get you on another one here. But you are 8 for 9. Let's see if you can close this out with a correct answer here for the last question. During Fortnite's first ever superhero season, a mountainside villain base secretly housed a massive missile. It towered above a cliff with a launch pad, and players tried for months to figure out when it would finally be used until the rocket events changed the game forever.
Right. So like the general location of it, or
I mean, there's a specific name
Yeah,
that the Fortnite community
oh.
gave that
It was like
mountainside villain base.
oh right. Right, because there was yes, it was chapter 1 season 4, so that would have been, so there was the hero mansion, and then that wasn't a normal POI, it wasn't named.
Yep.
So there was the hero
Yep.
mansion, and there was like villain lair or something like that. Is that it?
I'll give it to you. It's
Or like the visitor's lair or something, or
it was popularized as the evil layer, but it was also widely known as the villain layer. So I will give you
Gotcha.
that one. Yeah.
Nice.
So yeah, you're coming home with a 9 out of 10. That's pretty
crazy.
good. That's pretty good. How did you feel? That's the first time that I've ever gotten like that in depth with a mini game where it was like more about like your actual knowledge instead of me like kind of guiding you with things. So did it feel okay with how the mini game
yeah.
went? Did you feel everything was fair?
Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely was very fair. That redacted one was definitely the like the bunker, because there's been so many different bunkers in the game.
Yeah.
And then the actually, I think it was like a joke on like the original bunker. That was the answer for it. And it was like an actual like landmark, like an actual place on the map.
Oh, okay.
It was like on the side of a mountain in like chapter 2, and it was like it almost looked like an Area 51 like entrance or something like that. That's what I was thinking of,
I don't
because
even
it looked like
think
a
I
bunker.
remember that. I remember redacted. All right, fair enough. All right, well, that is going to wrap up the second minigame. We're about to go into our final chapter here. Did you have any other things that you wanted to hit on as far as like your personal content journey that we didn't really discuss?
No, I'm good. I mean, I've just been doing my thing, and I do have to say the most unique experience, because I'm the only community manager that has actually gone through the Respawn Recruits competition.
Right.
So it's huge. It's awesome to like know what it's like to do the Respawn Recruits, and then it's whole different area to host the Respawn Recruits. It's definitely the most unique thing I've ever done.
Right.
So I just had to get that out there for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Before we actually move on to this next chapter, I am actually curious. Going into we'll say, I mean, you've been doing YouTube, but we're gonna say that you're going into your YouTube arc now as you're like stopping streaming and full focusing YouTube. Can you kind of explain what, I know you have a few channels here, YouTube channels. What channels do you have? What are the purposes of each of your channels, kind of thing?
Oh, yeah. So my main channel, well, in general, I haven't posted in a long time, so bear with me. But yeah, my main channel, it used to be mainly single player content, so like just the run of the mill let's play content and stuff. Thought I could do really good, and then I actually got a lot of inspiration. He's a friend of mine, and he does Fortnite content. His name is Evolve Jake. He's a part of Ghost Gaming and all that stuff, and he makes content in a totally different way. Like he makes Fortnite videos, and there's like trillions of Fortnite videos out there, but he's so successful because he does educational videos in different ways. So like he does like a normal educational video, and then he does a spectating video where he goes into a regular game, and then he spectate someone, and then basically figures out what they have to improve on in their gameplay. So like he does different series of things for educational purposes and stuff. So that's basically what I'm wanting to do with my main channel now, is basically going into like educational content on like single player games. So like still have the single player aspect of it, but do educational videos on that. And maybe like gaming news or something like that potentially. I don't know. it's the start of an idea. It's
Yeah.
like not actually working on it right now. So yeah, that's the main channel. Is I just started just making videos there. My Call of Duty videos are still on my main channel, but it's turned into like single player content. And my last video was my very first educational video, which did really well. It's super awesome. So that's what I wanted to do with my first channel. My second channel, I think, is more Sith. Is more Fortnite oriented. So anything that I do with Fortnite will be on there, whether it be educational or funny moments or whatever, or any videos that I do with courage. So like any of the events that I have participated in, any hide and seeks or the fashion shows or anything like that, that's going to be on the more Sith area, and maybe even like Fortnite streams. I'm also thinking of that for streams. Um, if I do like uh Fortnite related streams, like full streams are that I play Fortnite on, are going to be on more Sith, and then for single player games, if I'm playing single player, that would be a stream on the main channel. So it's like switching back and forth,
Yeah.
having different um genres to play with and stuff. And then I have a third channel that used to be a VOD channel, and then it just didn't do well. So then I switched things up, and I'm wanting to do reaction content, which was pretty awesome. So the main thing that I've really seen in reaction content is that people just react. They don't like do shit pretty much. Like that's just like the plain and simple. They just react to it. And basically what I want to do is like do like I want to add value to it. So like I want to use like the knowledge that I have gained as a person, and basically almost do educational stuff at the on the side. I think it's called like transformative
Yeah.
reaction
Yeah.
content. So that's what I want to do, is I want to do really detailed reaction content um on the third channel. So that's pretty much what I'm wanting to do right now,
Awesome.
which is pretty awesome. Yeah.
You just got those three?
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's pretty
Awesome.
much it.
Yeah, no, that's awesome, dude. It sounds like you have a really solid plan as far as what you want to go through. Do you have any other ideas as far as maybe going up to the end of 2026 of opening up any other channels at this point, or is that kind of where you're
um
sticking with?
Probably not. There's just no way. Like I'm seeing all these like other YouTubers like Tim the Tatman. He's got like freaking a trillion channels or something like that. And then there's like someone like Mr. Beast
Mr.
where they have
Beast, where it's
separate channels for
different
different
languages. Yeah,
languages.
yeah,
Like there's no way.
yeah.
There's no way I myself can do
It's-
that. Like I would have to hire a team and stuff like that if I want to be serious.
yeah,
So
absolutely.
yeah, so I
Um,
think the three channels alone is just insane, just for one person.
I
But
agree. Yeah, having three
yeah,
channels by yourself is crazy. I have the three channels myself. I have the Brain Freeze, obviously, Frosty COD, and then Block by Block, my Minecraft exclusive channel. And dude, if I didn't have I have a dedicated editor for each of those channels. I don't think I
mhm.
can fucking do it by myself. There's not a goddamn chance. Um, just being able to bring a different personality into each of those videos, recording a different personality for each of those channels is
Mm,
hard enough. It's um, the idea behind it is each channel evokes a different emotion when you watch it. So I have to be I'm the same person, I'm the same face on the screen, but I have to act a different way. I'm bringing out that theater side of me. You know what I mean? Really bringing
mhm.
out a different personality, making sure that no channel feels like it's the side channel kind of thing. So
Right.
I don't think I could bring a different editing personality into it as well as the recording personality. It would be way too much for
Mm.
me. Probably make me go slightly insane, but we're already there. So anyways, let's go into chapter 3, the legend. We're gonna wrap this up here. This is gonna be the final chapter
Mhm.
for the podcast here. So we're gonna recognize all of your accomplishments as a manager and the professional side of things outside of your content. So you have worked with organizations and brands at a variety of levels. What is something that people don't realize about the mental side and how mentally draining the industry can be?
So like as a content creator or
Just on no, on the actual professional side of things, like a lot of people can look back and say like, oh, creative directors just make art. You know, how hard can it be? You
Oh,
know,
yeah. I mean, the comments aren't really like, it's just like they bounce off of me as just whatever, like that sort of thing. But um I would say, yes, there are misconceptions that people will have and do have about managers overall. Like, a lot of people would say, oh, like, you might not know what it's like to be a content creator, to be on this side of things or whatever. And there are a lot of community managers that make content before, or have done a graphic design piece. I mean, I'm sure most content creators ever have literally did everything all on their own, have done the thumbnails, have done content, or just getting into that other side. They've probably been through the content creation, content side of things, and done things on their own, or whatnot. But uh, I wouldn't say it's like mentally draining. It's just like, um how much you're putting into it, I guess, is can be mentally draining. It is mentally draining for sure. But also on the other side of that, I love what I do. So like that's a
yeah,
huge thing of like, um I guess my mindset is, I can still like create content, still play a game and create content, or not, and like just playing offline and still have fun. Because I just overall love what I do. I love making content. I love being a creative director. I love being a community manager and all that stuff. So that's a huge thing. For me, for sure. So yes, it can be mentally draining. It's just like the amount of time and energy that you put in to certain projects and stuff like that. It's just normal stuff.
yeah,
Just anything could be mentally draining, so.
yeah, absolutely. Now a lot of these things that you do, you know, you mentioned like you love what you do. Like this is like
Mhm,
your passion, right? Like
mhm.
this is what you want to do as a full time career as long as you can possibly do it. Is that fair?
Oh yeah, 100%.
So
100%.
where's the shift in mindset from is there a shift from having fun, like how do I phrase this properly? Where's the mental shift from I'm having fun to I'm doing work? Like I need to do this to
Mm.
survive. You know what I mean? Like is
Um I also feel like deadlines put a huge pressure on that.
okay.
When there's like a huge deadline, like super short deadline, I guess I'm like pouring a lot of myself into a certain project or something. So I guess certain things can feel like work. And yes, there is some things that I don't really enjoy doing, but at the end of the day, I still like overall love doing what I do.
Right.
There's just obviously there's moments that aren't the greatest, obviously. I mean, that goes with like anything. But that's how you improve, and that's how you you know do anything really.
Yeah.
Um it's just how I do things. Like, at the end of the day, I just enjoy doing what I do, but
Right.
there are moments that may feel like it could be better.
Yeah, no, that's
you know
valid. There's a lot of people out there who maybe have the ambition to get into a similar space to where you are at right now, getting up to maybe being even a designer for a an org, and maybe the potential to get into creative director at some point in the future. But can you give some advice on how to protect yourself as an individual? You know, you worked with some pretty fair, reputable brands. You know, Elevate, Northern Forces, and Limitless all alike. Like they all have
Mhm.
at least some sort of established background. But a lot of people don't get that opportunity right off of the bat. They work with startups. They work with people who have the intention of maybe using you and kind of like letting you go,
Mhm.
not paying you, you know, stuff like that. Can you give advice to those who are trying to get into a position, get their foot in the door, get their feet wet kind of thing, but still have to protect themselves?
Yeah, I mean, you can still have like, obviously you have a passion for it if you're like listening to this video and all that stuff, potentially wanting to be a content creator or a graphic designer or an editor and all that stuff. But um, you can still like work with certain brands and everything, but on the other hand, you also have to know your worth. I think that's a huge thing, is trying to understand that you are worth it, and that they first approached you for certain things because they did see worth in you, and you have to like try and figure out that aspect of things. That's the largest thing, is knowing your worth, and that you deserve better in a lot of different situations that you could go through. um and I've had to learn that. I've had to learn my self-worth and stuff like that, that hey, like this just happened to me. And you have to like talk to yourself and say, hey, like I deserve better, so now I got to work towards how that could be, and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, you have to like internalize a lot of it and understand that you are worth it, and that what you're doing provides value and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And when it comes to like businesses and advertising and all that stuff, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Kind of rolling with that and continuing on with it. Have you had a personal experience, or would you be willing to share if you have, um, maybe a what you thought at that time to be an opportunity, whether it was working with a company or an individual on a collab, or
Mhm.
maybe creating art for an individual or something like that, where it was taking more from you than you were giving, kind of thing? Does that make sense?
Mm. Um. Yeah. Yeah. I understand. Hmm. Um. I would say, well, obviously, it's just the way that I did things back then with like graphic design, because I didn't really understand how to like get payment or receive payment. So I basically listened to the customers pretty much. So I would be doing like graphic design, and I would be asking for a certain dollar amount, whether it be like, hey, like I'll do a thumbnail for you for $20, and then I do the thumbnail first, and then I send it to them. I've done that before, and they just use the thumbnail and they don't pay me. So
Yep.
it's the process, and just learning the way that you conduct yourself, and the way that you sell your skill set and stuff. You have to like protect yourself that way.
Yep.
um Whether it be like doing half first and then half after you've done a certain thing, or that sort of stuff, to not be used in a sense.
Yep.
I also will say, not going to go into super detail, but back in like January, there was a particular eyewear brand that I used to work with, and
That
they
we
brought
both used
in
to
a
work with.
particular. Sorry,
That we both used to
sorry.
work with, perhaps.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So there was a particular eyewear brand that we used to work with, and they brought in a particular manager that didn't have the greatest background, didn't have the greatest experience, I guess. And they were really like using a lot of us in a sense. And, it felt very one sided from the brand perspective. Well, actually, from the content creator's perspective, it felt one sided. Like it felt like a one way street. And it just, the whole bunch of us just didn't want to take it, and we just left the brand, and that's that. There's really nothing else
Literally
to
like
say. This
85% of the partners. Like, it was fucking
Yeah,
insane
yeah,
overnight.
pretty much. So it's just all of us just trying to protect our peace, and just trying to protect our worth in a way, and not do like free advertising and stuff. So I think that was a huge moment for a whole bunch of creators, and some that might watch this video and say, hey, I know that brand that you're talking about.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a huge moment for sure. That it was like a lot of content creators knowing their worth, and backing away from a particular brand or something like that.
Yeah,
um
absolutely. Um,
yeah.
I think it's important as a I mean, I was not at the level that you're at, but a designer and an editor for a lot of people as well, content manager, stuff like that. And I would offer my services before getting paid. I offered a lot
Hmm.
of my services for free too, especially
Hmm.
content managing at first, so I could prove myself to a certain degree.
Yeah.
Um, but through designing, there were countless times where I just straight up like got blocked after I finished a project, like wouldn't get replied to, that kind of thing. So
Yeah.
as a creator, now a strict creator in the space, not designing, not editing, even my own works, um,
Hmm.
I am very particular, and I think we a lot of people need to adopt this culture that if you are going to be hiring a third party or a second party, I guess in this case, to take care of the things that you personally cannot handle. Um, some of the editors that work with me right now are very new to the editing space. I bring in people who are very fresh editors because they have less experience, so I can offer my experience to them in order for them to grow
Nice.
as an editor. But in return, I ask for cheaper rates because they don't have that experience to where they can charge super expensive kind of thing.
Mhm.
Um, but they say, yeah, let me like get all this edited for you, and then you can pay me. I was like, no, you aren't touching a thing until I pay you. Like
Right.
I want to make sure that I am secure in my funds because something could come up. Something could come up
Right.
where you finish my project and I'm like, ah, sorry, man, I can't pay you right now. And I don't want to
Right.
put you in that
Yeah.
situation, even though I don't have that intent. It is possible. And not everyone has the worst intent in the world when they can't pay you. But things do come up. You know, someone might
Mhm.
have to take their animal to the vet or something like that. And then you don't have the
Yeah.
money you thought you did. Um, so if you are going to hire a second party where you don't want to take the time to edit, you don't want to take the time to learn how to design yourself, you don't want to take the time to learn about your algorithm and you ask a content manager for advice. A lot of creators and editors who have been in the space for a long time are going to ask for payment up front because of their personal experiences. But for those
Mhm.
who don't take advantage of that. Like you need to like set a standard because if you get used to paying a designer after they finish your work, you're going to come across a designer like Sith who eventually is going to be like, "Yeah, fuck no, you're going to give me my money before I start anything." Like and there's going to be
Right.
people who, you know, the bigger the project, the more money it is or the more experience whatever. Like if you
Mhm.
have like a $500 project, there's a lot of designers out there who will say, "Pay me 250 now, pay me 250 when it's done," kind of thing. But like
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. I think that's a perfect middle ground for sure. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. So with everything that you have to balance out as an individual, between the managing, the content creation, you know, you got to factor in your IRL in there as
Mhm.
well. Um, how do you how do you like deal with the burnout, man? Like
Ooh. I mean, technically, I'm in a burnout right now with content.
okay,
I have been for like the past 8 months, pretty much. But like, I don't know. It's more so just an internalized thing with like passion and everything, because passion like fluctuates a lot, I would say. And I don't know. I really have never technically dealt with burnout in a sense. I feel like I I more so just do other things creatively, I guess, when I'm burnt out on a certain thing, like whether it be huge example would be I think it was either 2020 or 2021. The entire summer I was in a complete creative block. I literally for many months I could not place a single pixel on Photoshop. And I had done so many amazing things up until that point, and then it was just I felt like Peter Parker in like Spider-Man 1 or Spider-Man 2, where it's just like I can't even like do anything anymore. He just literally just becomes Peter Parker
right,
again. So that's basically what happened. Where it's just like I got like a permanent rust, I guess. That's the only way to like describe it. It's like I got permanent rust for a certain period, and I guess what I did was I did other things creatively, and I guess it slowly chipped away on that rust in a sense, I
yeah,
guess, where it was like watching movies and being critical on the movies, or like doing things that I would do that I still enjoy doing, if that makes sense, like
yeah,
creatively. Looking for other creative outlets to do things on. um and whether it be sort of like at the time schoolwork or something like that. So like I tried to do other things I'm still passionate about, and I guess that would chip away on the creative block and the burnout and that sort of stuff. So
yeah,
yeah, I guess it's
absolutely,
just trying to do certain things that are in the same blanket, I guess.
yeah.
Is huge. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's a great piece of advice for anyone who, you know, a lot of people aren't balancing as many things as you're balancing, but as someone who was just being a content creator, I was editing myself, I was designing myself. After Respawn Recruits, dude, I went through like I think it was 15 or 16 month burnout. Like
Hmm.
I still edited. I was able to bring things into my Premiere timeline. I edited full videos, but I would look
Yeah.
through it and be like, fucking terrible, and just delete the
Yeah, like the
entire fucking
personal
project.
content. Yeah,
Like it
I get
was,
that.
and that was just where. So maybe it wasn't a burnout percent, but it was like I would ask for critiques from people, and people would give me critiques, and I'd be like, "Fuck, I thought this was good," and instead of applying the critiques, I would just delete it. Like
Right.
it was a really bad mental
Yeah,
slip. And a lot of people
I
are
get
like,
that.
just post it, just post it. I'm like, no, like I'm not gonna just fucking post it. Like it's bad. It's not gonna get views. Like
Hmm.
it was just a bad mental fucking spiral. But to
Yeah.
touch on your points, you know, when people go through those burnouts, there's other ways. You know, people burn out on specific video games. People get sick of Call of Duty. I burnt out from Call of Duty for years. But
Hmm.
playing other games around that area, you know, I touched on Valorant. I touched on a lot of Fortnite. I touched on, you know, Apex, a lot of other FPS games, and I was like, what if I kind of brought this culture to Call of Duty, you know? And then I started playing Call of Duty like I would play Fortnite. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, okay,
Yeah.
maybe I am having fun on Call of Duty again. You know, you can bring it to a lot of other different areas as well. Aside from the creative space, obviously the creative space is what hits with you the most. But how do you? Hang on, I bounced around my script here quite a bit.
No, you're
It's
good.
okay. In the space that you're in, with we'll talk specifically on like content directing right now, but it also applies to just being a content creator as well as a partnership manager for Respawn.
Hmm.
Um, I would assume one of the major conversation topics in meetings or day to day whatever is the conversation topic on comparison. You know,
Hmm.
there's this brand, this chair brand is doing this. They just posted this kind of ad. How are we gonna do this? Or you know, this team just posted this about Rocket League. And I really like the way that they did their graphics. How can we implement this? You know, there's a lot of ways that you probably hear comparison on a day to day basis. What kind of stress and added pressure does that add to you as like a designer or a manager to kind of keep up with maybe the trends or to keep up with the demands of your employers?
Um, well, there definitely is stress for sure. I will say. I think the most stressful thing for sure has to be the Respawn Recruits competition. The very first one that I've done so far, and you know, the stress, the amount of like doubt I had, I guess, behind the scenes, like I might have been like super like amazing on the surface, but I was like doubting everything. I was redoing certain challenges, some of the weekly challenges. I literally was consulting with some of the partners on what they thought, and they were like, no, I don't know about this." And then I was just like, "Okay, back to the drawing board." So like, it was just getting ideas, I guess, is a huge thing, and having counsel, I would say, is a massive thing. Instead of just um internalizing it yourself, getting other opinions on certain projects and other things is huge, because you know, you have the same perspective like almost all the time,
Yeah.
and getting a different perspective on certain things is huge, and getting that inspiration, I guess, for implementing certain things in the way that you do things is awesome. So yeah, for sure it's internal doubts on certain things, but then on this, on the flip side, is getting opinions from other people and then improving it. Like uh for an example, like some of the limitless graphics that we would do for the Rocket League, basically for every split or every open we would have a mood board done. So whether it be me going through the newer graphics of all of the esport teams, and then creating a mood board, and hey, like we could take inspiration from this graphic, we can make the text similar to this graphic or whatever. I love the way that they laid out these particular assets and that sort of stuff, and delegating that work to other designers, and then they would be uploading their first draft of that graphic, and I would be putting in my um opinions on it or whatever, and what they can
Right.
improve on and all that stuff. So it's awesome having other people that do the same thing that you do, you know, in the same space, and that you're able to like crutch on in a sense and lean on. I would say definitely really helps for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I 100%
Hmm.
agree. Um, we have four questions left here, and then our final mini game. So,
Oh
was
boy.
there was there ever a specific game or project or maybe like style of designing that you used to love when you were doing it on like a individual level or maybe a smaller scale for people you worked with, but now that it's part of your like consistent grind, it's like something like, oh boy, another one of these. Oh, okay, I gotta kick this out. Like, do you have any of those examples?
um I don't know. I mean, I still enjoy doing it. It's just doing it at certain times of the day, I guess. It's a little draining.
That's
It
fair.
can be a bit draining. Um, in the frequency that you do it at is also a factor. But I also do work for a tech content creator. He is mainly on YouTube, and now I think he also streams every so often. But his name is Gutsy Aiden, and I've been doing all of his main thumbnails for majority of his videos since I think the fall of 2021. So I've been doing it like even his most recent video, literally posted it a couple days ago. I did the thumbnail for that. So ever since 2021 up until the present, I've been doing majority of his main thumbnails, and you know, it's still awesome. Like I still enjoy working with them, and I still enjoy, you know, thinking of different ways to do a thumbnail and all that sort of stuff. The creative process, I guess, is more so just um you know, I've been doing it for so long. I guess it's just how long you've been doing one thing for so long, and I guess it can feel a bit repetitive, almost like a deja vu sort of thing. It's like, hey, I did this so many times during the years or something like that. I don't know. I guess it's very specific situation, but it's like creating thumbnails, I guess. Like I still enjoy doing it, but there's some days that it's just like, do I really have to do this? You know, you know, there's those days for sure. Yeah.
I was muted, sorry. Yeah, I definitely agree. Even being on like a certain like creator or thinking back to when I was doing like artistry stuff, there's like a lot of things like when it comes to the scripting of my video, it's like so
Mhm.
monotonous and it's like, okay, another script. Like I kind of know what I'm gonna say. Like, do I really have to do this? But if I don't do it, it's gonna be like, yeah. So uh oh fuck, and then I just go silent, you know, like radio silence.
Right.
So having the script or doing certain things is important, you know.
Yeah.
Being able to provide the thumbnails to my or the thumbnail descriptions of what I'm looking for to my designers. So I'm like, can't you guys, like, you guys have been working with me for like months now, can't you just assume what I want, you know, or something like that?
Yeah, it's a bit scary to do that, but
What would you say if Gutsy
yeah.
Aiden said that to you? Like, oh man, you've been working with
Well,
me
I
for like
mean,
years now. Can't you just like guess?
well, I mean, I do know the overall like quality and like the style that he wants.
Yeah,
So like a lot of the videos that he has done have been like gaming setup reviews or reviewing your gaming setup
yeah,
or showing off people's like in his community certain people and their gaming setups or whatever. So, you know, the thumbnail would be a gaming setup. I mean,
hmm,
that's literally what it is.
yeah,
But there's just different like ways that we like A/B test these thumbnails and
yeah,
stuff, and like different variations of a thumbnail or whatever. You know, it's pretty important
yeah,
as well,
absolutely.
for sure.
So if you as an individual could design a system today for future creators or designers or editors or anything along those lines
Mhm.
to protect their mental health from organizations and partnerships that may or may not have malicious intent but have negative outcomes on the individual,
Mm.
what would your like step-by-step process on how someone can protect themselves look like?
Um, not sure, to be honest. I mean, for me, as a community manager of a gaming brand, and understanding what certain people are saying about the brand or whatever, um and comparing us to other brands that have done people wrong, I guess, and saying, oh, like this could just be a carbon copy of this brand that did a really bad thing or something like that. um I try and alleviate that by doing my job, I guess. It's like,
Yeah.
uh just being personable and talking with other people in the community, and just doing my thing, just doing I've been hired to do, is huge. And also, um having others within the Respawn team, back me up, I guess, in a sense, or like also have the same mentality of like, hey, like Respawn isn't just a normal brand or whatever, like we do this and this. And all of these content creators that are in the partner program are super amazing, and all that stuff. So we already have, like, technically, I guess, a sort of like, a family system, or
Yeah.
family dynamic in a way, that is like super unique. I also would say, there is a system that we have at Limitless that is pretty awesome. Not in the mental health sort of way, but like we have a particular person. I will name drop him, the gaming advisor. He was also a former Respawn recruit, but he actually works, like his profession, his main profession is working on resumes, cover letters for resumes, and he even does like mock job interviews with people and all that sort of stuff. So it's pretty interesting the way that he does things, and he creates content surrounding that profession, which is pretty awesome. So having people that are content creators, but also have maybe a profession in like therapy or something like that, or something. I think that'd be really cool to see people who are in that profession create content, I guess.
Yeah.
Um, for like mental health reasons or something like that. I think that'd be really cool to have people who are in, I guess, the therapeutic, or like mental health sectors, create content maybe during the Respawn recruits or something like that. Like, huge example, one of the weekly challenges that we had was like do something educational, and there would
Hmm.
be, I know, there's a particular recruit that is a nurse, a pediatric nurse, and she did like a PowerPoint on like the human heart or something like that, like just like providing your skills
Yeah.
on like the mental health area. I think would be pretty cool, like if you're professionally in it. So I think that's also a huge thing,
I mean,
is, yeah.
yeah, there's a certain level to YouTube where across all of social media platforms, all video viewing platforms, YouTube has the most integral structure of a informative platform. Um,
Hmm.
Before everything got super oversaturated with gaming, there was a lot of people who, you know, how do I change my tire? You know what I mean? Like people go to YouTube for that. They didn't Google
Yeah.
it. How do I? I think a lot of things with like cars, but like, yeah, how do I? I just broke my leg. How do I properly stint it in order for me to go into the,
Right.
like something like that?
Yeah,
And it's
there's a
like,
tutorial for like anything and everything, like
right,
how to wake up, or
how to get
how
better
to
sleep.
breathe, or
And if you're getting information from someone who isn't like professionally in that field, not only are you going to probably be fucking up your leg worse, or putting the wrong tire on
yeah,
your car or whatever, but like
yeah, you got to
there's
be
a,
careful with
yeah,
it.
absolutely.
But yeah, it could be super helpful. The amount of resources that are out there and stuff like that. And I don't think there are many brands that have creators, or even just like staff members that are in those areas, I guess, if that makes sense, in the mental health area, or that sort of thing. I think that'd be really beneficial for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So we
Hmm.
got one more question here until we go into our final mini game, which I don't even know if I want to call it a mini game because it's not going to be very very fun for you. Um,
What do you mean?
so final question: if you had to distill it down to maybe the most basic points, what what is your why? Like, why do you do what you are doing?
Mm. I think it's just like a lot of people have been there for me, I guess, and have been sort of I guess a crying shoulder, I guess. So I want to be that person for a lot of other people, where they can come to me and just lay down all their cards and just talk through things, I guess. And I want that to go into my content as well. Like I want my content to be an escape for people and my streams to be an escape for people, and to make them smile and all that stuff. So like the why is other people. I
That's
think
fair.
that's the main thing is the why is you, is the respawn partner program, is the why is the recruits, the why is the staff members at Limitless, the why is the content creators at Limitless, the why is the Limitless community and all that stuff. So I think that's a huge thing,
Yeah.
is just doing it for others, and all that stuff.
No, that's valid. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's a great message to leave off with before I really make you maybe go against some of what we talked about today.
Oh,
So
great.
we have our final mini game here, Sith. I'm going to probably push you outside of your comfort zone a little bit. You're probably going to be very uncomfortable with this. It's called the
Okay.
final hot seat. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The premise of the mini game is I'm going to give you some hot topic conversations, some questions here, and I mean you can answer with positive intent. It's not meant to negatively impact any of your answers, of course, but
Mm-hmm.
for the fact of being informative, and maybe influencing other people in their journeys, I'm going to ask that you be as honest as you possibly can.
Okay, I got you.
There's only 10 questions.
Mm-hmm.
There isn't necessarily a direct giveaway that is linked with this, like if you answer so many questions. However, if I feel like you have gave your best effort overall, since you have given a pass on the last two games, if I feel based on my judgment that you gave a solid effort at this, I will be giving away the Respawn 110 at the end of this
Hell
episode.
yeah.
Fair enough?
Yeah,
Does
sounds
that
good.
give you incentive to answer some of
I
these hot
got you.
topic questions? All right.
Oh man.
For the Respawn 110, let's get into the first question. What is one brand, organization, or company that you wish that you never worked with or regret associating your name with?
Ooh. Oh boy. Um, I mean, due to recent events, I will say the Iowa brand. I mean, I'm sorry. It's just it's insane to me with the recent events and stuff. But I will say the people there, the staff, the original staff, absolutely incredible people. But yeah, with what happened, I will say that.
Yeah, you have to know when to I don't want to say like use your opportunity, but like once you know that it's going to shift in a bad way, you kind of have to know when to cut that tie. So things were going very well for a while, and then they did it. So it happens that way sometimes. What is one time that you maybe faked being excited about a project or a post or a video because you felt that you had to?
Hmm. I mean, to be fair, I was completely terrified about going through the recruits. To be completely honest,
Like
I was
when you
like,
competed, or
well, no, like when I hosted, I guess. I mean, I was still excited for it, but there was also the underlying thing of like I might f this up, like this might go in complete like shatters and tatters, that sort of thing. Like I might be in complete flames here. So I guess I kind of had to like conduct myself a certain way, but also like I was still trying to be myself
yeah,
at the end of the day.
yeah,
But
absolutely,
yeah, I mean I was terrified.
yeah. No,
But
that's
it worked
valid.
out. It worked out.
What is the last time that you felt genuinely jealous of another creator's success?
The last time I felt genuinely Jealous. Ooh. Shoot. I don't really get that jealous, if at all, really. Dang. I really can't think of a moment right now, to be honest.
Okay.
I can't think of a moment I was jealous.
All right, that's fair enough. I mean, you don't really come across as that person, but I mean, there's people that, you know, they fooled me. If you had to make a guess, what is the biggest lie that people assume about you due to your role at Respawn or Limitless?
The biggest lie? I mean, I really haven't been told anything really from anyone. If it was like rumors or lies or anything like that, I haven't been told anything really.
Let me rephrase.
I really don't know.
What is something that people falsely assume about you due to your role at Respawn or Limitless?
Like a misconception?
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Again, I haven't really.
All right, fair enough.
I haven't really been told a misconception, and like, not that many people have like misunderstood anything about me, if that makes sense.
Okay.
At least like from like me with knowing, like looking through all the Twitter accounts, like looking through the hashtags and everything like that. You know, like I've told people who I am up front, I guess, especially during like the roundtable, the Respawn roundtable that we had for the Respawn recruits this year. I pretty much like put me on like a silver platter in front of everyone, and they all like admired that. So they haven't really like they know that I'm a content creator. They know that I've been through the recruits and stuff. I'm the very first manager to go through the recruits as a content creator. So they know for sure that I like through my judgments or judging everyone's videos, that, you know, I have a unique perspective, and that like I get it in a way. Like I get it a lot more. So there wasn't really that many like misconceptions or lies that people talked about me or anything like that.
Yeah, no, that's valid.
Yeah.
All right. When is the last time that you considered just walking away from it all? You know, like, have you ever genuinely just like hovered over like the delete channel button, or, you know, just considered stopping all of it, brand work, content, everything?
Yeah, there was really early on in the Respawn Recruits competition, there was some internal like drama. There's always going to be drama with a competition, really, but there was a particular moment where you know, I was being targeted in an unfair way. I'm not going to go into details, and I was just like, come on, like this is just insane. And I guess there were some like things being spread around about me and other people and stuff like that. So it was very unfair, and I kind of felt like everything was like closing in on me, like the walls, pretty much. So like the Indiana Jones sort of thing going on. Like, so yeah, in the heat of the moment, I felt like just I'm done. Yeah. So but I still pushed through it, and I still did the thing, and I still hosted the competition. You know, I did it for the recruits, and, you know, but yeah, there was a moment, you know, almost like I would say panic attack, I guess I would call it. There was a moment there that I was just like, damn.
Yeah.
Like
no, that's valid.
I kind of feel like just closing the book, sort of thing, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. Which one of these matters more to you? Respect from your peers or love from your community?
Would peers and community be the same thing, I guess?
Peers consider it more like people who do things similar to you. Whereas community is like your viewers, kind of thing.
I mean, I don't really care about like if others like respect me or not, I guess. Like I guess I would more so be with like the overall community, I imagine. Okay. So like you know, I would say it's love from the community for sure.
Okay. What is one piece of advice that you've given others about surviving in this industry that you still struggle to follow yourself?
Oh, it. Say that again. Sorry.
What's one piece of advice that you give out to others in this industry that you struggle to listen to yourself?
Well, I mean, I would say it's like every day it's hard to be. Well, I wouldn't say it's hard, but it takes work and time to be a good person. So I still say that, you know, I don't know. It's like the mental struggle of it, I guess.
Okay.
It's like not wanting to give in and just do whatever, I guess, if that makes sense, and not like you have to work yourself up to be the bigger person in a lot of situations, and you know it's an everyday struggle.
Yeah.
In general, you know, it might feel easy at sometimes, but it's a definite struggle every day.
Yeah,
for sure.
That's valid.
Mm-hmm.
What is the most recent creative decision that you've made that you still wonder if you completely messed it up?
Probably some of the challenges in the Respawn recruits. I have probably thought of like a trillion different challenges for some of the weeks. I mean, ever since I started brainstorming about the challenge, the competition last year, like every day I was like second guessing like everything pretty much. So I always like, I guess the self-doubt is there a little bit, probably with a lot of projects, I guess. So I would say it's like I'm internalizing. It's like, did I do good? Or like, did I do the thing? Or could this have been better? Or could I have handle this situation better during the competition or something like that, or that sort of thing. So I know that there's people that tell me that I did good, but there's also there's the internal struggle of like,
absolutely.
Yeah.
We're on to our last one here for you. If everything disappeared tomorrow, all Sith branded channels, all projects, Limitless is gone, companies you're with are gone. Say even like Photoshop, like all of the programs that you use for creative designing, all just disappeared. Where does Sith go next? What happens?
Like if everything, like this is like
everything is gone.
lifeblood,
Social media is gone. All of the applications you use on a day-to-day basis are gone. Do you go a creative route, like non-digitally? Do
you? Probably like if everything is just gone, like the programs and stuff that I use, probably acting or something, like something in drama.
Okay.
Whether it be like if I were to keep the knowledge that I have.
Yeah.
But certain programs or whatever, like I just couldn't do it. I guess I would go into the entertainment sector. I guess it would be whether it be the technical part of it, like a technician for certain things, like audio tech or camera tech or something like that, or that sort of thing. I guess. Okay. I don't know.
Awesome. I mean, it's a very big hypothetical, but. That's all we have for the final hot seat. I would say you gave a fair, genuine effort at I mean pretty much all of those answers. If you didn't have one, you just didn't have one, kind of thing. You didn't just say that you didn't want to. I think that warrants the giveaway of a Respawn 110 for the community.
Let's go.
So how this will work, we can talk more about it off camera, but when this goes live, around the week that this goes live, you will put out a post, and then the giveaway will be facilitated through you. Whoever wins the giveaway will reach out to me, and I will get their details, and I will give it away to them, kind of thing. So,
hell yeah!
Congratulations to the community, Sith community, the Respawn community, whatever, getting a Respawn 110 chair giveaway. Super awesome.
That's awesome.
Before we wrap up, do you have anything that you wanted to talk about as far as the business side of things that you have worked with for so long?
I mean, that I've pretty much put in everything that I could really think of to talk about. I talked about like everything about me, and well, I wouldn't say everything, but as much as I could with the
Right.
questions and stuff. So
Yeah.
um, that's it.
Fair enough.
I'm pretty chill.
Well, I do want to again just thank you for taking the time to be a part of this episode.
Yeah.
From chasing passion to carrying brands to finding himself again when the grind got heavy. This episode wasn't just about the content, it was about finding identity, it was about resilience. And just a massive shout out to you, Sith, for stepping into the arena today with me, and for being able to keeping it calm under pressure, more than most could ever possibly probably imagine. Um, and to you guys at home, thank you guys for being a part of episode 5 of the Braid Freeze podcast. Without you guys, this wouldn't be here. As you guys heard, Sith just won a Respawn 110 giveaway for the community. So make sure you guys follow him on all of his socials. Follow Respawn as well. You might as well. You guys are going to get the chair. You guys might as well follow Respawn.
Heck
You
yeah.
know what I'm saying? All of the details on the giveaway will be featured on Sith, however he wants to run it. So make sure you guys go follow him and all of his socials down in the description. And thank you all the viewers at home and Sith for being a part of this episode. It was a great episode. We ran it entirely differently than we ran the first 4 episodes, and it felt a lot more organized. It went a lot quicker than some other recordings have went. And
Really?
yeah, it did significantly. And I just appreciate all you guys being here, man. So we'll see you guys in 2 weeks with another creator and another story. And until then, stay chill, stay curious, and of course, stay frosty. We'll see you guys next time. Take it easy and peace out.